Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a wonderful Monday Live on a Wednesday. That's what we get for naming the show after a day of the week.
I don't know what that says about 2024, but
it's off to a great start.
I'm nervously excited.
Well, hey, welcome, everybody. We're glad to be back. We hope you can hear us, not just talking into the void here, because we're a little rusty.
Second cycle asking, are we supposed to be able to hear you yet?
Well, that's a yes. So, Jonathan, I'm watching Jonathan. So here. Do we have audio? Can you give me a thumbs up, Jonathan, that people can hear us? See me.
Turn that thumbs up.
Let's turn that thumb upside down. Let's turn that thumbs down upside down. It depends on who you ask. Okay,
hey.
Jizzle says we can hear. Good.
Second cycle's probably just on mute.
Yeah, maybe it's just you guys can mess with
us. So you could hear what I was just saying?
Every single time. Here's what's going on. So Jonathan's usually here running production. We have had a flurry of wintry weather that has prevented us from being in the office the first couple of days of this week. And then that was followed by Jonathan coming down with a righteous fever that he thinks is from food poisoning. But who knows what it could be. So that has put him at his house in basically as a corpse rising up to run the stream from remotely so that we could be on the air. So we appreciate you for that, Jonathan, very much. And so it's not a perfect show today, but we're going to do it anyway because it's been a month since we've been on the air and I've been missing it personally. Professionally, I assume that it matters. Also, I think that's a interesting exact reaction to that. Well, it better matter. And what I would like to hear from y'all is just a quick check on the audio. We had to reset a bunch of stuff in the studio over the break, so we always want to make sure that that's good before we plow through. A couple of big things we will be talking about today. Sorcery, now nobody understands this game. That's been very clear from the videos I've seen over the past couple of weeks. Earthborn Rangers game found launch. Massive, massive thing. We got heavy hitters coming up for Flesh and Blood. We've got some Arkham releases on the way. Marvel Champions is doing a whole vibe with their mission system. We've got Ashes that we're streaming on Monday of next week. And we're going to show you an early preview of Blight of Neverset. They've also got sale going on. And I think I probably missed something in there. Alpha Clash, big announcements on the organized play front that we will cover. We'll get into all of that. We don't think we'll even play anything today. We think we'll just be hanging out and having a good time with all of y'all. And I'm hopeful that the look that I have right now is more akin to a kind of cooler version of Steve Jobs' turtlenecks.
Yeah, Steve Woolley.
Than it is just somebody who's uncomfortable to watch, I would say. But I don't know.
Why not both?
It does keep your neck warm, which I guess is the promise of the turtleneck.
It turns out that's pretty integral to the general warmth of your body.
Everything sounds good. Audio sounds good.
I will say it was an extended break we just took from doing this.
It was a long time.
It's nice to be in the new studio.
Yeah.
Second thing is seeing some of these names come through. Lee Price, hope you're doing well, man. It's I don't know if it means anything to anyone else, but it means something to me. You said you personally missed it. Me too. Andrew Navarro in the chat. Frank
Andrew.
Levi in the chat.
Congrats, Andrew. Hey, look at that game found go, yeah?
Just a ton of familiar names, and it is nice.
You want to know the next step on the studio? See this? I think, so this has got to all become wood.
Look at that plant.
That's got to all be nice
on.
wood. These window frames, they got to be wood as well. This white kind of gray thing was just kind of the default setting. It's like when you start the character's creation screen and it's the default skin. So we got to get some wood there, nice paneling there, and then get some shelving back here, in some capacity. Put that lamp up on a little bit of something. And then I think we'll be pretty well set in here for the next, well, who knows, decade, 20 years, century? We'll see how far medical science advances, I guess.
Java, can we get the comment up from Java Huji?
Java
Huji, I think is how you say it. You tell me when it shows up. Hey guys, thanks for introducing me to Sorcery. I'm absolutely in love with this game and I'm very appreciative. I feel the same way. Let me tell you, we started doing the beta pre-orders last year. Or when I was considering pre-ordering beta last year is when alpha was showing up. Yeah. And I was like, I don't really need beta, so I'm not going to order that much. So I ordered enough to get a playset of the Lightning Bolt promo.
Yeah.
Smart. Right?
What a genius.
Yeah.
In retrospect. I didn't do that.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Anyways, so then beta came out, and I'm telling you, in terms of need, I do not need any more Sorcery. But I think about buying more boxes every day of my life. Literally. I mean, it's at least a once a day phenomenon.
And this is why TCGs can command such an organized play circuit.
Yeah, and we'll get into it in the main topic, but like the joy of opening that product, it's very impressive.
All right, we're diving into it then.
That topic.
Let's talk.
Are we going news first, or we going topic?
No, we want to go. I want to go topic first.
Topic first.
About Sorcery.
Okay, news later.
Unless we want to do news, we usually do topic and then news and then game. But I mean, there's a lot of news to cover and there's topic to cover, and it's kind of the point of the title. Is to get the Sorcery eyes in here.
I just work here.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do the thing first. I want to say hello to Alex Becker in the chat. Alex.
Yeah, that's another familiar name.
I'll never meet you in person. I've come to accept it.
That's not true.
And I kind of, I don't know, I kind of like it. Now that I accept it, I kind of like it.
I will bet. How much do you want to bet you will meet Alex in person?
I'll bet $1 million and make sure it doesn't happen. Josh Brophy says to put the green screen back here.
You can't make sure that happens. I'll fly him here. If you bet me enough, I'll fly him here. Right? You can't not come to work.
Have you heard about that movie, Self-Reliance? You watched that movie?
Was that the one where if you're with other people, they can't hurt you? But
it's the guy from New Girl. And
I've seen the preview, but I haven't. Have you seen it?
I watched it last night.
Was it good? It's like, what's that book about the person being hunted by people?
Yeah, Hunger Games?
No, come on.
The Most Dangerous Game, the classic novel?
Yeah. It's like that, but with the twist of if you're with other people, they can't hurt you.
Yeah, exactly.
So then they find each other and they're both playing the game, and then like, but are they really playing the game, or is she conning him, et cetera, et cetera?
There's a little bit of that, yeah.
You can't know.
It's a strange film, ultimately. It's strange. It would be terrible if it weren't for the cast. The New Girl guy, I forget his name, Nick of New Girl.
Jake Johnson, yeah.
So he's just so enjoyable to watch.
He's hilarious.
Delivering any kind of lines that it
he's
works.
got a physical comedy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know how we got here.
He pushes it in
he's
that film
very
well.
funny to watch.
And Anna Kendrick does a good job.
I always just picture his like...
It's not what you think. It's not what you think it is.
New Girl, yeah. Okay.
But that maybe... I don't know. You just watch,
for better or worse.
I would suggest that you watch it. I'm not saying it's going to win any awards or anything, but I just like movies, and it's a nice movie to watch. Let's talk about Sorcery.
All right. What is the...
Here's where this came from, Zach. I have been... Jonathan and I are really interested in just like locking down the greatest YouTube strategy on Earth, right? Because...
So then you insert clickbait title, and then here we go.
Yeah, basically, I've learned some lessons here. But
it's not clickbait if you deliver.
That's right. It's a brand promise. I have been around the internet the past month and are not, being as active here and doing a lot of research and kind of, it's the end of the year. So you kind of just, where am I? And I want to, what do I want to build going into the next year? And you got to do some research to figure that out. And so I have been really heavily steeped in traditional gamer content. I would say
tabletop gamer.
I've gone all the way from Louis and the crew over there at Kitchen Table to Rudy and the
Taco Man,
the Taco Man, to the Extra Life, extra credits, Extra Life channel, to the Pro ZD. You probably recognize it. Very funny videos. I think typically associated with Yu-Gi-Oh. Now is doing kind of a board game review thing. To Rodney, of course, over at Watch It Played, all the way up to Command Zone and that whole vibe, and trying to get everything in between. It's some random guy that was ranking TCGs, who I don't know how I got there, but they were getting ranked.
I feel like that could be the tagline of YouTube. I'm not sure how I got here, but I'm enjoying it.
Once I got in, then it started feeding me all sorts of stuff, and I just kept going. And then that guy, who remembers that? If you remember it, John, then you feel free to pipe up. It's the guy that on the D&D channel that did the Sorcery video talking about the TCG that banned digital art.
Like AI art or digital art?
Digital art.
Period.
Well, that's the title, but the idea is that Sorcery is just not doing digital art. They're doing all traditional hand-painted art.
Oh, there's the YouTube thing coming in. It's like, here's this game that banned this art.
That's a 25,000 view video to a D&D audience about Sorcery TCG.
Well, I mean, D&D is...
Yeah, right.
Like the neighbor of,
And he's
if there's going to be a card game player that D&D players would enjoy, Sorcery's probably it.
And that's one of the keys is like you start seeing it pop up in all these different places. So I got a whole bunch of takes on Sorcery, and the number one take that I think continues to happen is that this game needs to have 3 or 4 releases a year to maintain the attention of an audience. And I could not more fundamentally disagree with that idea, just out of hand. Like,
and is it just releases, or are there other pieces of this?
There's other pieces
Like
too.
if we're at the top.
So you've got to have 3 to 4 releases, or you're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have weekly tournaments at the LGSs all over the country. You're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, what else do you have to have? You've got to have,
you have to have
an
big
organized play
organized play.
circuit.
Yeah.
You've got to have a reason to participate in organized play, potentially with big prizes and incentives, et cetera, et cetera.
Kind of relates to a fab conversation.
Yeah,
but
the armor
I'll let you
conversation.
guide the thesis here.
Yeah, those are the main 3. You've got to have like those
So you need
pillars in place.
a regular cadence of releases on a
Yes.
3 to 4 month basis.
Yes.
You need local support. A lot
In a
of
big
times I hear people on both sides saying you need a really robust casual audience locally,
Yeah.
and you also need a really robust competitive audience locally.
And that's usually like event kits and promos sent to local stores and that kind of stuff.
And then you also need a bigger organized play framework,
Right.
which are bigger events, reasons to compete at a higher level, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's, I don't exactly know, I guess I should have figured this out before we put the title on and went live, but what I want to assert here is that all of that comes out of a fundamental misunderstanding of what Sorcery TCG is. And it comes out of this is what human beings do. I've been really kind of obsessed with this over the past months, forgive me. But you take something that is creatively fascinating, exciting, captivating, etc. You fall in love with it. And then at that point, things start to emulate it and everybody takes notice. And then you get kind of like, okay, now I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it that way. And then over time, because human beings are human beings, they try to systematize and kind of, I don't want to call it machine, but you systematize it and try to make
Streamline.
it very streamlined. Yes, yes, good. Standards,
Good,
et cetera,
good.
standard. So you start to put it in boxes and then smaller boxes because you want to understand it. So you have to break it down into like understandable chunks that now we want everything to function like this. So eventually you get to this point where you say, for this original thing to exist or be true at all, it has to function the way that we've kind of boxed it in over 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So we entrench all of these ideas into this one thing. And so now everything's built to do that. And you got to do it this way. It's the only way you can do it. And then everything else that isn't doing that way is going to fail. And then sometimes somebody comes into these places and basically wipes away all of those entrenched ideas and starts back at the very beginning and says, what if we just made a great product and then we put it out there in the world? And we didn't reinforce all of the things that you're supposed to have associated with a game. And I think that is what Sorcery has done. That's what Eric has done. I think Eric did that in many ways with Path of Exile, and that team did that with the Diablo ARPG franchise and said, do we have to have like this level up system and talent system and buying loot system and PvP? I don't know anything about Path of Exile. I'm just guessing. All those kinds of things. But there's a spirit when I read, I was about to buy it a couple years ago. And when I was reading the reviews of Path of Exile, the entire kind of review base was, this is what Diablo should have been. This is what I loved about the original Diablo, or what I loved about Diablo 2. And so if you just like kind of wipe away everything that you think should be, and you take a fresh look in a brand new field, a tabula rasa situation, and say, what kind of product do I actually want to make, and what kind of product might people actually want? And then it's like, well, for all of the people who don't care about organized play, and all of the people who play at home or just collect cards and put them in binders and love that element of it, and all of the people who love fantasy creatures and old school fantasy, all the people who love traditional art and truly appreciating the artists in a game, all of these people that have been lurking in the background of every game that has come along, I think Sorcery basically was like, this one's for you. And what you do with it, we don't care.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to interrupt you. Is that the conclusion of your opening statement? I'm curious
what did that key on for you? Yeah.
If there's any comments, any thoughts out there, would be curious to know your vibe as well. But I think the main thing, and I've seen that recurring. You see it in the Facebook groups and the Discords and stuff where people are saying, I just don't see how this game can sustain retailer and player interest at one set a year, right? Or without these kind of other things going on. But from my lens and things I've been working through I haven't been piling through YouTube videos to see what people are thinking, but it reminds me of our data-driven death conversation. Because in 2015, 16, 17, 18, that phase of our business, we started getting more data-oriented and more process. And like it worked to a degree, but at some point we systematized it to a point where it started feeling like we were almost losing, as weird as this to say about the organization, our soul a bit. Because it was just sort of, here's the numbers we're trying to increase. What can we input here to increase those numbers? And then rinse and repeat. And
those KPIs, man.
The better you get at identifying the activities that are likely to yield the results that you want. And then so you keep funneling. But it doesn't leave a lot of space for something else, right? And there's something else.
Like creativity.
Yeah, or soul or heart or passion, Are you doing it because you want to do it? It reminds me of, you see YouTubers all the time, content creators who are just chasing the algorithm. And it's like, well, I need the thumbnail and the title and the content that's going to get the most views. And you just keep, and after a year or two of following that pattern, you eventually are like, why am I making any of this stuff? But
because you're living in a YouTube funded mansion is why.
Well, that's a pretty good reason.
I'm scared of that.
But the comparable to me is, about 30 years ago, Magic came out. And when it came out, it had none of those things. I think there was one actual set the first year of Magic. I don't know the exact, I'm not a history buff here, but it was very minimal. If you look at those cards, like it's not built for competitive play at all. The design, the balance, there's no organized play system, there's no tournaments, there's no anything. I think what you have in 1993 and 94 is, at that time, the greatest card game experience that's ever been created. And like behind that experience is this crazy economic model.
And opening the packs is fun and exciting and insane.
And like every game, and you're going to play against people who have things that you've never seen. And it's just like, if you're watching this, I assume you have gotten into a card game at some point. So just the idea of getting into a card game when there is no concept for this prior. I mean, like when I got into Pokemon when I was a kid, it was like,
I didn't know the set list.
Yeah, well, it's also just
what's in the packs.
It's so intoxicating.
Yeah,
like it's just like now you get into a new game and it's like you're thinking about it all the time and you're messaging about it all the time and you're obsessed with it. So you look at Magic and all those things you were talking about came later. Now they're at 82 sets a year instead of one.
That's right.
The organized play, the pro circuit,
packs,
the Friday Night Magic, even the invention of Commander, alternate formats, different audiences.
Well, that's the players invented Commander, and then Magic started printing products to sell to
like
players
you do.
in Commander.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Dude, even they had it better than you could have it from Central Command.
Yeah, but
the players figured out.
Magic itself is owned by Hasbro, which I think is maybe owned by, maybe Hasbro's the top, is a public company. They have quarterly results they have to hit. And they're absolutely looking at these numbers and saying, how do we up these numbers all the time? But it's easy to make that comparison and say, okay, to be successful, we need to do all these things that Magic is doing. And the big thing for me is, if you actually look at why they were successful, that's a data-driven death problem, is like, it's self-reinforcing to a point where you start not considering other alternatives.
Yeah. And
then also, there was so much different about how they got there than the context around all of the data that we see from Magic being successful.
What's that famous quote? Data's always looking at the past.
Yeah. Yeah, data is you literally, the moment you have data, you're looking at historical information. And so, you want it to be, I think, scientific method, I pick up this card and drop it. That will happen every time. Data is not good, especially data like we're talking about, success of a game or growth of player base, etc. Because everything about it's not scientific, right? It's not hard. That will never, as far as I know, the gravity will never change, right?
But data might predict that this has happened the past 3 times, but the 4th time it might not.
Yep. So you could say, it's like, let's say you make YouTube videos, and it's like, well, I posted videos with this kind of title, with this kind of thumbnail, with this length, this sort of content, and it got 20,000 views, 20,000 views, 20,000 views. So you do the fourth one, it gets 2,000 views. It's like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
It's like, well, something is changeable, unlike gravity. Gravity can't be changed. So if you try to scientific method it, you end up with a problem. And so just have this whole bundle of things that you're looking at. And with Sorcery, it very much feels like trying to get back to the roots of what made Magic special in 1993 and not what made Magic special in 2010 or 2020.
Yeah, and I think literally you sit down and you say, how can I make a card game that I want to play, that is a super great system, that like inspires my imagination, that gives me that sense of fantasy and insanity happening on the board? How can I make it where I actually want to open the packs? I'm not opening the packs to check off a checklist because I just need them to play in a tournament. And so I'm just like, how much money do I have to spend to get all these cards so I can just play in these tournaments? How do I actually make it fun to open the packs? Like, what do I need to include in the sets to make them exciting to open and to play together and to have interesting interactions on the table? How do I have the best art possible that invokes? And see, this is Jonathan often talks about this, that 60 frames is a more accurate frame rate for sure, but we all associate the great kind of film idea with 24 frames per second. There's less information there. But because there's less information, it puts your brain in a place of understanding that this is a fantastical thing that you're witnessing, that it's not a home video. It's not an accurate representation of something. It's a story. And so in the same way, it's like when you have hand-painted traditional art, it puts your brain in a place of, this isn't perfect. This is now a fantastical story-driven thing that's happening. It's not meant to look like real life. It's not meant to look perfect. And to me, I hope, there's no way that this is true or knowable, but I hope there's some amount of transmission of the soul of the artist onto that traditional medium that gets through in the experience of playing with those cards. And not, this is maybe critical to you, and collectability of a game not being, we're going to include 3 special cards that collectors are going to open 20,000 packs to try to find.
Yeah, I mean, they have curios.
Yeah.
So it's close to that.
They've got a lot of curios. It's like, but the curios are also interesting historically about the game and the development of the game, different art pieces that came along. But that's not the only reason. Like I'm collecting sorceries. I mean, like, that's crazy. But I'm not looking for, I got to open these and find a curio. It's like, I just want the cards. I want to have a set of the cards to look at and to like play with. That's why I'm collecting it. So I think a lot of times too, this idea that, if we include 1 or 2 special treatments of cards, the collectors will love it. It's like, not really. Your whole game kind of everybody has to want to collect it. You got to want the cards, or like, why are you here? So there's so many different things that the team at Sorcery has done to put this in such a different lane. And a lot of people keep trying to shove it down the same TCG lane, where 99 million card games have come and gone trying to compete in the exact same way. And it's like, yeah, that isn't going to work.
Well, I think even just on a fundamental strategic level, I think it's possible. And I look at a recent example like Fab. And Fab very specifically identified a segment of the market, which was the high-level competitive play for card games.
Exactly.
Magic was kind of walking away from it, going more digital. And they said Magic was not the system is not originally designed from the ground up to be a competitive game. We think we can target that better. It's in the DNA of everything they do.
The system was designed to be sorcery, effectively.
Yeah.
In many ways.
And it kind of became...
And then it became flesh.
Yeah. And so I think that's why even at Worlds, when James was talking about really owning that position of we're the best competitive card game in the world, you can attack that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Great.
And I think from every ounce of DNA that game has, it's set out to do that. Comparatively, Sorcery, and that's what I think you're hinting at with their pointing towards with the you don't understand, isn't intended to be not that at all. Like even just from the onset of 1 set a year, that concession is, and talking to Eric on our 12-hour stream about the top-down design and about this obsession and focus with the quality of the product and the experience. ahead of everything else.
Imagine that, right?
And the number of people I've seen that are like relieved that there's not a set every 3 or 4 months. And even just from a basic, think about this, right? Because to me, these games are not, they are products, but they're really not, there's way more going on than just being a product that's purchasable, right? There's literal art involved on the cards. There's also art and craft to the design and development process.
Right.
And so if you actually picture it, what has to go on? Fab is a good example of this because Magic is insane on the number of products they put out. But like Fab, let's say 3 sets a year. It's like when you start really understanding what it takes to bring each of those products to market and how much development and design and the processes that have to be in place and the time you get to just sit with something that you're creating versus 1 set a year as an example. Like actually Sorcery has just highlighted to me how insane a typical release schedule is. Yeah. Because you're ordering those even just ordering those products 6 months before release. And if you're releasing every 4 months, you basically have 2 that are already being produced prior to the release of the first one. So that you have to be so far ahead. But even just from a time perspective, if you're doing a set every 4 months, maybe it takes you a year to make a set. So then you kind of have to, and you have set 1, and then you have to have, the next set is only going to be 3 months after, but we got to start developing it, 9 months before the first set comes out. And you stack and you stack and you stack and you stack, and you got to keep this cycle going. I think from a development publisher side, all the way to the player end, as someone who has heavily invested time and energy into playing Fab on a real level, the concept of Sorcery is so refreshing. And I think that's where we're talking about, like, if you're going to be Fab and compete with Magic on one element of Magic, which is the competitive side, that is going to be really hard. Yeah. Wizards is a giant company with decades of game loyalty, brand loyalty, awareness. You have you can go almost anywhere in the world and find somewhere to play Magic. Yeah. That is such, and you not only have to, and like for a long time, it was kind of the stance of, like, for us early on, right? There are better games than Magic, and we think the better games should succeed, right? But there's so much more that goes into a game succeeding than is it better than Magic? And part of the problem is you have to design something that is compelling enough past the thing and this is just Magic. We're not talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, board games, Flesh and Blood. You go like down the gamut of go to TCG Player and look at the 42 games on that list, right? Yeah. Of that you're competing with.
And they're all basically doing the same thing.
Yeah,
releasing 3 to 4 sets a year. And
you only have to be more compelling to get interest, but like actually converting someone, like Magic had it easy because I'm converting you from not doing something to doing something. Yeah. Converting someone from doing something they're already doing with a group of people that's established and a comfortable like pattern is crazy. So that's where, if you're going to put out a game and you want to have a winning strategy as a business, making a game, it makes a lot of sense to me to target and approach it in a wholly different way. Because if not, you're going to just have to compete in this pool of competitors that's super flooded with the same strategies being used.
Yeah, across the expectations that they've been building for themselves over 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, it's like, man. Thinking back to like Spoils, which was the first game we sold.
They tried to pull a Fab, basically.
They
Bigger
did.
Prizes, more money.
They had some investor issues, and that's a whole thing. But I think Spoils is a better game than Magic. Yeah. Period. But it takes so much more than being a better product to win in the market, and that's where you look at Sorcery. I think Sorcery is a better game than Magic. Personally, it's a subjective take, and maybe but their approach is, and one of the interesting things for me in all of this, and we had a lot of conversations at the end of last year, kind of talking about organized play and prize pools and stuff. But you always hear about the need for organized play and prizes and all that jazz. But I also, the more just kind of studying Magic that happened, it's this recognition that almost everyone believes Commander saved the game, or like is the reason it is as successful as it is today, which is funny because it's sort of the casual hangout kitchen table game. And I feel like Sorcery not only wanted to create the best product that they could, but started out with the premise of like, this game is for the kitchen table. This game is for not the tournaments. I mean, not the tournaments. We say it all the time. Winning is its own reward.
Tournaments will happen where there's people who are interested in competing.
Humans will find a way to make it competitive and to do the thing. And I think somehow the game holds up on a competitive level. But we were talking about the development cycle earlier too. And when I'm thinking about competitive, the amount of energy and effort it takes to balance a game competitively, and I think the boxes it forces you to put around what you allow into the game and how conservative you are with design is pretty astonishing.
Yeah.
Particularly when I'm hearing people talking about Magic and saying how Commander is kind of king and the reason that this is so successful. And just asking that what if we focused on that primarily and let the rest of it take care of itself. And there's tournaments, that's part of the news and stuff that's going on. But like, I think from the outset, like I really hope they don't go past, the one set a year, and they may do supplemental products and stuff. But just the way I've approached it so far is like, I've enjoyed opening it. I want to keep buying it and opening it. Sealed and draft have been super fun. But I also don't feel the need to solve the puzzle immediately. Like I'm sort of just slowly unraveling the exploration of this game. And I'm the prototypical competitive grinder, like, I mean, just that player. And it's been really refreshing and nice to have that.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, it's like, be careful of the advice you listen to, right? Because, and people who are online, people who are on Discords, those are going to be your most active people, and those are probably the most likely to want to play a game a bunch and like get all of the cards sooner rather than later.
Competitive players are definitely the loudest.
To get 3 or 4 sets a year, and it's the only way that I can hold my attention on it. It's like, well, it's kind of a you problem in that particular instance. But so let's not do more than 1 to 1.5 sets a year. Let's not.
1.5. Let's get that half set.
Let's not bow to that. Let's not even go there. I don't think you make organized play kits. I don't think you send anything on the organized play front to anybody. Players will figure it out. Stores will figure it out. I think you find a way to recognize the stores that are actually adding value for you through the dust system, and you reward them. But you can't. The problem with this whole thing, as we've talked about for years and years, you cannot get product to the stores that deserve the product without getting it everywhere else where it doesn't belong. That's just the way wholesale works. You cannot do that unless you can find a system or build a new system that can do that. So don't bow to that. Don't do a big tournament circuit system. Don't worry about prizes. Model it after, like, we're going to Sorcery Con
in Seattle in
next
February.
Month in Seattle. A great friend David floating
saw
still in
that
the Discord.
Justin Derringer comment coming in.
We're going to Sorcery Con, and this is a player-run, fan-run thing that is happening. 90-plus people playing Sorcery. They're not involved at all. They don't have to be involved. We will find a way to have fun with the things that we love. If they just keep making things that we will love, everything else will take care of itself.
I mean, that's the classic, like, if we make a game that's good enough that people will love, and they are taking a certain gamble here. This is a very new approach, and I think about Arthurian Legends Set 2 at some point coming out, and saying, hey, there's going to be 12 months loosely between these sets. That has never been successfully done or sustained in our industry. And the question is the experience good enough to keep people to enjoy it enough in that year-long period that by the time the next thing's coming out, they'll come back? Because I think it reminds me of what's happened effectively with like YouTube and social media, where at first, we were talking about this earlier, but at first social media comes along and it's like, this is a tool that lets us do things we couldn't do before. My oldest sibling was just past college when it was happening. And it was like, he wasn't friends on Facebook with his friends from high school or college. And like, you could start making some of those connections, but it's like, oh, I was able to reconnect with my college friends that I may well have lost touch with if I had not had this tool. This is interesting. Isn't this cool? And you kind of do it sometimes, right? Then Facebook's like, well, if we can get people here more and keep them here more, we can show them more ads and we can make more money.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it's like all these dopamine hits, and like YouTube, shorts have become this little like 30-second.
And this is how you do it.
And then it's like, okay, well, because there was a long time where I would go to YouTube and I would subscribe to certain channels and whatnot, but it was just like, it's still my favorite of all the platforms because it has the most valuable content. And that algorithm is doing a better job of putting in my feed the kind of content I actually want to see.
Yeah.
Which oftentimes is like 1 to 2 hour videos on YouTube.
Right.
Which is not ideal for them. And it's not ideal for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to create that kind of content. Or watch it, yeah. And that's fine.
Don't I know it?
But it's like this, the release cycle of something like Magic to me reminds me of what Facebook or YouTube Shorts feels like, which is like just constantly giving you little bits to be engaged with. And I find it this time. Well, I hit the big card this time, and like you keep going. And some people make that argument for CCGs, TCGs, period. Mm-hmm. And that's a topic for a different episode of the show. But just that reality of it feels like putting a stake in the ground and saying, you know what? Yes, YouTube Shorts might be the way to reach the most people or the way to get the most engagement continually and like keep this thing burning. But ultimately, we're going to slow down. We're going to produce something that takes a little longer, that has a higher bar of quality, and that people are going to enjoy more and be able to enjoy less. I don't know the right word for it, but like the word I was thinking is wrong. So I don't want to say it, and it has a really negative connotation. I'll just say it. Not degenerately.
Sure.
Where it's like at some point.
Not as an addiction.
You're just doing it to keep up. Because like even with Fab, right? It's like I have had moments where I've felt, and I've had to find ways to structure in breaks because they have an OP circuit going all the time and releases happening consistently, which is their goal. But it also sort of feels like sometimes if I get off of this train for 2 or 3 months, there's no way I'm not going to be able to get back on. Right. Mm-hmm. Whereas you don't have that FOMO or that feeling from Sorcery whatsoever, which is it. Again, it's a huge bet though. This is not, that's why the Kickstarter doing so well was amazing. Cause I remember an early conversation with Eric and a lot of different turns. He was sort of like, I think hesitant or thought I would think negatively of a decision they were making. And every time I just got more excited. Yeah. Because it was like, you're actually choosing a very unique approach here to serve a different kind of player in a very high quality, different kind of way. Mm-hmm. And I hope the market responds to that. And then the Kickstarter was insane.
Well, here's an idea. Here's what the last idea.
There's a ton of comments too. Which
I want to get to all of y'all. Here's a concept. What if a set comes out and you're like, sweet, that's great. And you buy some boxes, you play with your brother like I do, go down to his house and play some Sorcery.
Yeah, not me.
We get a couple of boxes each. We play some Sealed with each other. We go to a couple of friends' houses, have a good time. Maybe go to a bar every now and again. We don't do that, but I know a lot of people do. I mean, I go to bars, but not to play Sorcery. We do that for, let's say, 3 to 4 months, maybe 2 months. And then we're like, all right, cool. And then we enjoy all the other things in our lives.
Yep.
And then 8 months later, Arthurian Legends? Sweet. I'll play that for a couple of months. That sounds wonderful. Why does it have to be 24/7 attention on everything all the time?
Well, and I don't think it can be.
Why is everyone trying to make that the case?
And you're basically if you can pull it off, it's incredibly lucrative. That's
sure.
why.
Yeah.
Look at Magic,
Think about
right?
me all the time and buy my products.
Yeah, but I think it would almost be like picture a TV show that was trying to constantly have your attention. Mm-hmm. It's
like people streaming once a day.
Yeah. Or I'm just picturing like, imagine if you were trying.
Been there.
Imagine if I'm trying to think of a good TV show from recently. Oh, The Bear, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's not a comedy. Let's just get that on the table.
It's not a comedy. No.
Not
a comedy.
Clicked on that and it said comedy and it won awards for being a comedy and it was just like, what? Anyways, if there was an episode of The Bear every week, I would eventually fall off the train.
Yeah.
And if every TV show was like, we're going to have a weekly episode, how many TV shows could you watch? Mm-hmm. And there are some people that would pick their 5 or 10 or 20 or however much time they have.
Daily episode, yeah.
They would pick their favorite shows and they would probably keep watching it. But like, there's something about having room to breathe where even my preference is some people, and my wife's one of these people, like TV shows that just all drop at the same time. Mm-hmm. And you can just like slam that thing out over a weekend, right?
Yeah.
Which is good sometimes. But I prefer shows that roll out episodes over like once a week, right? But something like 8 to 10 episodes once a week, once a year, or once every other year. The reality is if the show is good enough,
dude, yeah,
you will come back to the well.
100%.
Like it's been I don't even know how long it's been since the first season of House of the Dragon. I thought that show was really good, especially after how horribly the Game of Thrones series ended.
Well, I could have directed anything, and it would have been better than that.
But like, it's been, I think, a couple years since the first season, and what am I going to do? Not watch the second season when it shows up? No, it's not true. And I think that's the theory that Sorcery is now testing, which is we had beta.
Let people enjoy.
Time's going to go by, and it's like, well, if you really enjoyed that, for some people will enjoy it for a month or 2 or 6. Some people will play the whole time. And then Arthurian Legends drops. It's like, what are you going to do? Not experience Arthurian Legends?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like, right.
We're about to find out.
You do this in movies, and they have sequels a couple of years later. It's like,
so
it's not.
Giving it room to breathe lets the people that want to enjoy it slower do that. And it also lets you create a higher quality product, I think. And also lets people experience the rest of their life. And even just in this hobby, there's so many things that are pulling for your attention between board games and different card games coming out and tournaments and travel and stuff.
The hot new thing.
So strategically as a business, if you're making a game that requires significantly less effort and attention, you are a viable option in a slot that isn't viable for a lot of people. As an example, I know a lot of people play Fab that also play Sorcery. If you were trying to be Fab, you can't do both.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do both.
Yeah.
I can currently play Fab and Sorcery. And you said, and so even on that parallel, it's like, well, if you try to become this thing everything else is, players have to choose.
Right.
So anyways, there's a lot there.
I'm with it, man. Let's go to the comments. Thanks, guys,
start letting them rip, John.
For being here. Jonathan, do you want to pull them up? I can also, I'm kind of rolling through here on my phone to find some good ones. A lot of people saying the audio sounded good. That's good. I'm glad to see that.
I've been popping them up as good comments have come across.
Popping them up as good comments. Thank you, Robo Jonathan. Appreciate that. Still doing Fab. Yes, Charlie. 111.
Spelled uniquely.
WONONEWUN 111. I ordered a beta box on Monday. Can't wait to get it. That's right. And that feeling is important. That feeling is important. The number of people who I have interacted with in the past, let's just say the past 10 years. Let's say the past 3 years. Doesn't matter. I got to buy these booster boxes to get the cards that I need. That's the whole thing. It's an expense. It's a deposit you got to put down so that you can enjoy the organized play side, or that you can play with your friends, or you can go to the local store. There's no real joy in opening a lot of these packs. What people are doing for TCGs, strictly.
Well, we talked about it before, but Sorcery did a lot of really clever things. First, the art is different. Second is the foils and the curios make it so that you have to slow down and go through the ordinary.
You gotta pay attention. Yeah.
And so, a lot of times in a game, for the first 3 or 4 boxes that I open, everything matters. And then after that, it's just the really high rarity stuff that matters. So you open, did you get the thing or not? Okay. Did you get the thing or not? Okay. But Sorcery just sort of forces you to slow down, which, it's just charming. I like it. I like that it does that.
You're doing some wild things really well. QL Crane, the Throwback series made me spend way too much money on TCGs.
You know what? I don't feel bad about that.
I hope you enjoy them, though. I hope you have a good time opening those products.
But that hits at something we're dancing around here, which is like, with 0 new sets happening.
0 everything else.
It's literally none. Nothing new is happening. How much enjoyment and like art, both in terms of the art and the actual creation of the game itself, is out there to be experienced that doesn't require any of that. Like you see Star Wars TCG, the Middle Earth TCG World Championship just happened. I was in.
Shout out to Ryan. Hey. Thank you for recording that just for posterity, just to have it in the record. I watched about 20 minutes of that game. I had no idea, of course, what was going on. I wouldn't even know if I was playing. But they were having a great time at that table. Yeah. They loved it. Yeah. The dude who was playing against the Hobbit deck was like, I hope this Hobbit deck wins. Yeah.
I'd love to see you dunk this ring, But that's just another good example of like, if the experience is good enough, it will continue to be worth engaging in. And so, how fast if there was a once every 5 years Miller CCG release, let me tell you, people would still buy it. Yeah. I would be buying it every time.
Mm-hmm. I'm with it. What's up, Joe Phillips? Said, hey there, TC. Hope you had a great holiday. Good to see you, Joe. Chaz Tilson, Iceman Marvel Champions dropped the other day. We're going to check that out. We're going to take a look at that one. Kelsythe wanting to open sorcery boxes constantly. Foils are so nice.
The thing is, though, about sorcery on that, I was saying earlier, I think about it every day. But the reality of what they've done with the unique rarity system and the way the foils work and the curios work, it's like every box is really interesting to open. But also the recognition is like, you can't, it's not like, so we talked about Destiny a lot being kind of a high priced LCG, where like the rarity was random-ish, but also fixed enough that you could reasonably get a playset across this many boxes or whatever.
Yeah.
With Sorcery, it's just totally wild, man. Like you cannot reasonably expect with the way uniques work. You could buy 10 boxes and there's still going to be uniques you're missing.
And heaven forbid foil uniques.
Oh, well, that's just a pipe dream. Yeah, get out of here.
It's actual
but just the reality of like no particular unique is so important. You have to have it.
Yeah.
But I could still. I bought some singles.
Ooh.
But if I hadn't, I could still open boxes and get uniques after like far too many boxes. And so, in a lot of games, especially if it's competitive, that doesn't fly.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like in Fab, the Fables that are 1 in 40 boxes were like tier 1 competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Those cards would be unsustainable, right? It would be crazy. But it's forever. I didn't have the is it Cerebrus and Chains?
Yeah.
Which I really wanted because it goes with the Battle Mage that I just can't resist.
Of course.
Playing.
Yeah.
This
is the one game you cannot resist building theme.
100%.
You just can't. You're like, other games you're just like, give me the raw efficiency. And this one, it's like, I want a dog following me around while I'm attacking people with the battle.
100%.
That's what I want.
Yeah, it's just here we are for you. But anyways, so like they just did a really remarkable job of. I think you can buy 1 or 2 boxes and play against people that have a lot more stuff than you, and it would be fine.
Yeah.
And then also it means that you can keep buying boxes or playing drafts or doing sealeds and seeing things you haven't seen before.
Yeah.
In a way that I haven't felt in a long time. It's really cool. Yeah,
that's very true. And the sites even too, like change the world. Joe Phillips saying 100% the target audience is not looking for all that normal TCG, CCG stuff. Corlash brought up earlier, Sorcery has been one of the best games I've played. The art, the game, the vibe it brings, and the moments and memories are something I've rarely seen in other game. Peter Helbenlink saying correctly that Keyforge is trying to capture some of this magic that we're talking about too, where you don't know what's in the opponent's deck. Now, I feel like Keyforge could go way harder in that direction and have a whole lot of weird cards that you literally only appear in one deck. I don't like that you can see the set list for Keyforge cards. I don't like that you can know what's in any given set. I don't want any of that. But yes, Keyforge is trying to basically create a deck building game where nobody can actually maximize the efficiency of the deck. Riley saying, what I was saying about products becoming funneled in a certain direction does not necessarily have to happen. It does happen if the consumer trend makes it true, unfortunately. So that is a reasonable thing. If people are willing to buy 3 to 4 sets a year, can anybody be upset about that?
I remember talking, well, I won't reveal any names. I remember talking to a store owner who was basically saying, like, I feel like what Magic is doing is unsustainable, but people keep buying the products.
Yeah.
So I keep buying them and selling them, but also it feels like at some point this has to end. And that's totally true. If there's enough people out there willing to buy it, I mean, I've kind of come full circle on Magic, right? Where it's like, this approach is not for me, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And like, if there are people that want this and this experience, now it's a little dubious because I picture the social media doom scrolling. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, if you occasionally do that, but if it's so addictive that 80% of the population is doing that hours a day, we might have a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, even with Magic, it's like, well, if this is sustainable, then cool, but also maybe not so cool.
Has it gone into like a realm of true addiction that is now out of people's control?
But I actually think
I doubt it.
Volumetrically release so much stuff. The average person can keep buying things, but it's not exhaustive. Mm-hmm. Like, you can also selectively and there's access to singles and stuff. So like you can play this game even competitively, I think, efficiently.
I also wonder really how much of the actual total Magic player base, like people playing Magic on a weekly basis, actually are buying new sets. Like, so let's say 30% of that player base buys the new set every time, but it's a different 30% mix
Sure.
every time. It's like that could also be happening. It's like I just buy Ravnica stuff, and it's like, all right, well now you've entered the market for the first time.
Well, I know we don't have experience in this category, right?
That's why we love talking about it all the time.
Just right out of our mouths. But the thing I was going to say is the stores that I've talked to, I know that singles are incredibly important.
Yeah,
and
they
so
run the whole thing.
I'm not sure how many boxes are being sold at the retail level of Magic, but who knows, man? And again, we talk about it all the time. One of the most tantalizing realities of a collectible game is draft and sealed, and you have prizes on demand. Yeah. So if you have a new set, of a collectible game coming out once a month, and most people are playing it casually or for draft and sealed, or they're just buying the singles of what they want, but you can always just like give 3 packs to a winner or whatever. Yeah. Okay. I actually like if there was a new sealed or limited set for Fab every month, even if it was just a new mix and not necessarily new cards, it'd be kind of cool. So that's kind of what Magic has going on, where they're just constantly pushing stuff out. So there's constantly a fresh format to engage with. So it might be bigger than just like buying all the products all the time.
It feels like they've found the edge of what's possible.
Maybe I just picture if you go to your local game store to play Magic every Friday night.
Yeah.
And every month or two, there's a set that you can do limited for. But that's just how you engage with the game. I can kind of see that.
Yeah, well, I can definitely see that.
But if I was engaging with it like I engage with Fab, where I'm keeping up with the competitive and the constructed, and like I have to have all the stuff and like all the
testing, metagame,
it would feel very unsustainable.
Yeah.
But they've been taking actions that make it look like they don't care about sustaining the competitive side anyway. So like, I don't know. I'm just trying to. It's something's going on there.
Something's going on, man.
You know what I mean? So like,
I think a lot of people are moving over to Sorcery. What's going on? Two Moot saying it's strange how with Sorcery I can engage with the game without any FOMO, not like Fab apparently. Just the awe of opening the cards and deck building and playing, not caring if I have them all, just playing with what I have and having fun. Sorcery has an air of mystery around it. Even the fidgety rules sometimes play to it. Pretty fascinating stuff. Jay Zilla says, each card being a real painting you could own makes this so special. Seeing videos of artists working on a new painting for a card and showing their work in progress just adds to the connection. Really love that. Chris saying, it reminds me of modern MMORPGs like World of Warcraft that have to release major content every 3 months because people have lost patience. They want constant novelty and change. I don't understand that. Well, and here's what else happened with your MMORPGs. They formulated it. They formalized it. They boxed it in. They did all the things that force you to make new content to keep anybody entertained. In the original World of Warcraft, hold on, let me go get my cane so I can hobble over here and tell you kids about it. The original World of Warcraft was very similar to Sorcery in the sense that, hey, we built this incredible world that you can go explore, and we trust you guys will figure out how to have fun in it. And we sure did. We raided each other for no reason. We stayed up all night with 1,000 people on the server versus 1,000 people on the server fighting over territory that meant nothing just because we could. We did all of this stuff. And then they started making moves like, people don't want to travel to dungeons anymore, so we're going to let them teleport so they don't have to like walk. It's like, oh, well, okay, so now we sit in the major towns and teleport. So now we're just trying to collect the loot. And if they're collecting the loot, to get them to keep doing that, we got to build raid encounters that give them more loot to go after and that they can use the stuff they're getting to be more effective. And they just built the giant treadmill and they removed all the scenery. They removed everything that made people just want to enjoy that world. And so, do you need constant content? Well, now you do. But look at some of these old MMOs, these old EverQuests and stuff that's still kicking around, RuneScape. It's just the community making it awesome. They took the tools, they're making it awesome. That's it. People will do it, just leave them alone. Make something great and leave them alone. Pardon my soapbox.
You're good.
SC saying, I'm so bloody glad there isn't a set every few months. Honestly, I hope we stay at only one set a year.
Justin, I'm with you.
Following up, one set a year gives a lot of room for playtesting. Sorcery has already made a precedent of having a set playtested by people outside the design team, which is amazing. One set a year also gives artists the room to explore their creativity and the runway for iteration for the cards. Absolutely excellent.
And I think if you could in working or creating anything, if you can just do it and then let it sit and take some time to breathe,
Isn't it important?
it changes the whole result.
Come back to it, look at it again. It's like, oh wait, no, yeah, this instead, and then
Yeah, I mean,
happens.
even just picturing we've been past couple months. One of my major things has been kind of a very broad it's almost like the pandemic happened, and then
I've heard that.
truly like coming to grips and waking up from the like insanity that was.
Yeah.
And so just really relooking at everything. And we had this whole move and building the studio and stuff. But
It's a big uprooting.
as we're working through kind of our plans and relooking at strategy and whatnot, giving us some time to breathe. Like we could have shipped something a month ago and made decisions, but it's crazy. The things that kind of start coming to light when you just give it some time. So I can imagine from a development standpoint, it's the same. Same with content, right? Like we got in this loop of we're just streaming 5 days a week, and we had to systematize it just to keep up with it. And at some point in that process, you're just like, are we just doing this to do this now?
Yeah. And
Like-
this is far from perfect, what we're doing here.
No.
But we're going to do this until we have a truly better idea. Not an idea of an idea, but like, let's think about it for a while. Let's see what people are responding to. Let's see what works.
And part of going down to streaming 1 day a week was giving ourselves room to breathe, to do things. Like we did the produced Sorcery videos. I'm really happy with how those turned out.
Yeah. We're going to SorceryCon.
We're going to SorceryCon.
For goodness
which
sakes.
we couldn't do with a 5-day streaming schedule.
And we're going to film something great there. Or so we hope. That's up to you, Jonathan, I guess. I like that I get to turn and just talk to the screen.
I'm telling you, man, we need a John cam. The thing about filming something like that is the raw material that gets filmed is what it is.
Yeah.
So
You can't refilm it.
I have nothing but confidence that John's going to turn some cool things out from that trip.
He's turned a lot of raw material that really was awful into something great, let me tell you, over the years.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, jeez.
Frank saying, one set a year is perfect for me. I like that Arkham is basically doing that now, too. I don't know if they intended to,
Whoops.
but they are. They are doing
Man,
that.
I have things to say about that when we get to Arkham.
We're
So
going there,
we'll
we're
pin
going
that,
there.
Frank.
We're almost
Good to see your
through.
face.
We're almost through. CD Menace, this is Chris. The rise of Commander was a result of WotC breaking their standard environment. In the late 10s, they pushed power too far to keep up with games like Hearthstone. Standard and Op fell apart, then COVID.
So maybe it was Wizards that created Commander and their their action or inaction did it
Man.
accidentally.
People can figure out how they want to play with their cards. Quit telling us what to do. You don't have to. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to. You know what? When I was a young boy, a young lad,
A wee lad.
growing up, and I had things like Z-Bots or blocks or dominoes. Did I ask the publisher to tell me what to do with those? No. Jonathan and I sat down with a pile of Z-Bots and we had the greatest adventures of our lives.
There was a meme going around of the creators of Uno.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like you can't play a draw two on top of a draw two.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
seen those.
the meme is like, we've been doing this for 25 years. We're good.
Yeah,
thanks,
we're good. Yeah.
thanks, creator of Uno.
Thanks.
We don't need the rules.
Yeah, we'll play it the way
It's like
we want to
the
play it.
free parking on Monopoly.
Mhm.
So, anyways,
Does it give you cash or not? Does it extend the game? We don't care. It's the way we do it. It's a household thing.
it doesn't. That's not how the rules read.
Kelsith, one thing important to mention, once we have sets out, a new set will be more impactful because you're looking at a larger card pool for synergy and meta definition, which is pretty fascinating.
And one thing on that front, with a typical game, even with LCGs, this was really evident. But like once you get about 2 years into an LCG, every release is such a fraction of the card pool that it really becomes hard for it to add anything
Anything.
meaningful.
Yeah.
So when you have tons of sets, the sooner you get to tons of sets, the harder it is to add something notable or meaningful in a game.
Yeah. And especially depending on silos too. I think this is Flesh and Blood has to manage this very carefully because they've siloed the card pools very, very strictly, which helps with balance. But it's also like, how much is my warrior deck changing with every new set? It's like,
I mean,
anyways, not at all.
in other words, that's one of the best features of that game.
It is.
Because like I have a Bravo deck and I have Viscera deck and like not that much is switching.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
like,
kind of
sweet.
nice because like, I'm not, and for people that want to master new heroes and classes and stuff, they can do that. But like personally, the past couple months have been very busy and taxing. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'll just chill here
I like it.
with my decks.
Brooklyn's S11B saying, I have arrived. I don't know if that's kind of like finally I've found where I belong.
Perhaps that's a 9-figure exit selling your company.
Or maybe both.
You know what I mean?
Hey, speaking of flying to Seattle, you hear about all these planes that have all these issues? Does that trouble you at all? All these Boeings?
Every time I fly,
That window blowing off of that one?
oh, well,
That's not good. I don't want that
I'm
to
not.
happen.
I'm not worried.
Okay.
Yeah, but every time I fly, I'm amazed actually that it's working.
Mm-hmm.
That whole system functions. So no, I'm not surprised.
Well, there's a recent story had somebody in the plane said, "Hey, that wing doesn't have any bolts in it," before they took off, and they're like, "All right, we should not fly." And then another one lost a wheel here recently.
I have seen that one. Yeah.
It's like what?
Well, you'd be surprised what
There's a
all
lot
could
of
go
flights.
wrong, and
There's
a
a lot of
flight would
flights.
still be functional.
Yeah. I just don't need the plane people cutting corners.
Yeah.
Not the plane people. Like the Quiznos guy.
You know, they have so many
dated me.
Quiznos. Yeah, what's a
Nobody's even
Quiznos?
thought about Quiznos in 20 years.
The number of little things that have to happen with planes is just actually astounding.
Yeah.
Like
Every
that
little screw
they
you're
have to
doing.
check and do every time. So
Well, apparently they're not doing it great because
I mean,
the freaking window flew off.
it's
Zach.
still significantly more likely that something would happen to you driving than in a plane, which is a miracle given what's happening and the number of flights that are happening and all that kind of stuff.
It's probably less likely than what would happen to me if I'm sitting comfortably in my house watching my favorite movies.
Yeah, well, life's about taking risks, man.
Nathaniel's saying, I think them focusing on the kitchen table play and making it more like a board game is good. Board games come out with expansions every few years. That's right.
Or not, ever.
Auxiliador is here, but forgot that we start soon now, so having to catch up, just so you know.
We actually
So
start
Auxiliador, let us know when you get
around the time, a couple minutes after we start.
I like this. Jay Zilla saying, TCGs need to innovate sustained engagement through rule sets and non-set enhancements. We don't need more sets in a year. We just need a new campaign or a new rule set that generates new experiences. Very much what we were talking about a long time ago at LCGs. That new pack has a card in it that tells you this is the format for competitive play until the next pack comes out. It's the Battle of the Ruby Ford. You can only use these characters. These get military challenges or +1. I mean,
Rhaegar's died. You can't use them anymore.
You can imagine where it goes from
Yeah. Well, and the other thing about that, inherently, expandable card games like this, one of the compelling propositions of making the game this instead of a board game is that everyone brings their own deck.
Yeah.
So the variability in the experience is built in, but we're just so used to that being status quo. Where like you go to an event, who knows what their what is it? A sorcerer is gonna. It's like, man, there's so many names. It's like Phoenix Born, going down. Anyways, and even you see Battle Mage, it's like their deck could be entirely different than whatever you're used to seeing. And so I think card gamers are spoiled because you're already getting like an exceptionally varied experience. Yeah. But I agree, the LCG solution applies to anywhere.
I also think Sorcery Con's gonna be nuts. You know why? Because when you have so few tournaments, you don't have the data. You have no idea what's going to be there.
Yeah.
You can't possibly know any of the decks that are going to show up. Everyone's spicing it up.
My money's on Battle Mage, dog.
Well, but everybody thinks the money. So now we've got this little.
I'm just saying, mainly because I'm going to be playing it.
Well, some would say that if you were playing a sorcery game or a chess game where you made your king awesome and then ran it into the opponent, it's a little bit risky.
Like I said, life is about taking risks. We're taking the plane to Seattle, risk. I'm playing Battle Mage, risk.
We assume David's actually hosting the event.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I will not win that event.
Yeah, I agree.
There are going to be people that are very good at that game.
We've got a shot at Sealed.
I agree with that.
The question is, does Jonathan want to jump? We've got 2 slots for both of the events. So John's going to have to decide if he's filming the whole time, if he wants to jump in on one of them.
I'll be a camera guy.
I think, see, you did it perfectly.
Yeah.
I think he needs to bring his trebuchet, catapult, artifact deck to the tournament.
For the constructed part?
Yeah.
That would be killer. He's the best sorcerer player in the room right now.
Is he?
He's got to be. He has so much more experience than us.
No, he's not better than
Look at him smiling. He doesn't have more card gamer experience. He's got
at
more
constructed
sorcery experience.
Because I'm a fool.
Yeah, you're playing all the blue cards.
But I can play only the good cards in Sealed, and they would do well. Tweak 87, an annual TCG is brilliant. It extends the life of the previous sets. Just look at 40k rules editions, for example.
Yeah.
And that game's been around for a couple of years.
Forever.
Travis Tron, I've had to take a step back in Fab and decide I'm a Ranger player and will only collect Ranger cards because releases are too frequent for me. I don't open packs for Fab anymore. Just picked up the singles for the class.
It is one of the most compelling ways that Fab has chose to structure their game.
Mm-hmm.
You can specialize in a class, which then means you don't have to buy every product that's coming out.
But then, correctly, Travis saying, if they had a rotating format like Magic the Gathering, I wouldn't survive. So it's like, you keep Travis on as a player because you're doing this specialized class where you can keep up.
And you're not rotating.
But you're presumably, Travis isn't buying a lot of booster products. So, I don't know. Where does that go? Tweaks suggesting that the demand for frequent releases is 100% because of content creators in that they want to push out daily or weekly content.
This goes back to the algorithm. It's connected. The problem with YouTube Shorts and the problem with these Magic sets. And I get it to a degree. Like Arkham is going through this a little bit where you went from a monthly touch point of new things to discuss and a new chapter of the story to experience to an annual Netflix binge, drop the whole thing here. So there's like 10 months a year where there's not anything to talk about.
Right. That's okay.
In that community.
That's okay.
Which is either
just stop talking.
Boon or bane.
It's okay to stop talking. We can all stop talking.
Yeah. But it also makes it feel, at least in Arkham's case, like I know people that don't watch shows that are bingeable like that, the way they drop, because it's like I can't keep up with, like, I have friends that just watch it the first weekend, and then when I finish in 6 weeks, it's like they're over it, and they like that
is true,
gone. So anyways, Arkham probably has a similar where it's like if it just hits at the wrong time, I just miss it.
Yeah.
And maybe my group doesn't want to play it now because it was a bad timing for me or whatever. Anyways, I don't know.
And then you play it later. It's still here. I mean, it's still around. You can play it whenever you want to play.
Well, not if you play with certain people. Like my friends that play Arkham, not on camera, they're going to play it the first month it comes out.
No matter what. And if you're not there, they're gone.
If I happen to be busy, it's like, it may as well not come out for me. Unless I want to play solo, which I don't. Because the whole point for me is getting to the table with my friends, right?
Yeah. Sounds like you got some real grade A friends there, buddy.
No, I get it. It's like people aren't waiting around on me to watch a movie if I'm busy.
I'm waiting around on you all the time.
Well, that's an exceptional relationship, you know? I appreciate your patience.
Shirichi's saying, but we want daily TC streams again. Well, you know, I wouldn't mind it either, except that doing it is the hardest part of that.
I wouldn't mind it if it didn't mean my entire personal and professional life was taking a backseat to doing it.
Hardly a sacrifice.
I could do it and enjoy it, but it comes at a great cost.
Yeah. Well, pay it. You're the CEO. Ravdeep Bagri, I'm glad Fab is still 3 sets a year in 2024. I've been busy the last year and don't feel like I've missed much. So that's also good. It's good for some people. It's bad for some people. And some of it is bad for the publisher because you're not selling as much product.
Yeah. It is interesting. If a game can release 3 sets in a year and you don't feel like you missed much, it's kind of a backhanded compliment, I guess.
But it is for the classes you play. Like Heavy Hitters is the first one that really matters for me.
Yeah.
As somebody who likes playing
they also were
fundamental.
This past year was sort of about flushing out all the overpowered things from 2021 and 2.
Right. And
now that they're gone, a lot of the things that in the past year and a half didn't feel important suddenly are getting way more important.
Which is cool. I mean, that is a great system. ST, competitive sorcery feels like original Elder Dragon Highlander. That is called EDH, Zach, also known as Commander. Because the game is not meant for this playstyle, making it work for that kind of playstyle is its own reward.
That's what that means.
Elder Dragon Highlander, invented by the judges of Magic the Gathering.
Those judges in these games are some of the most noble and best people.
Yeah.
I know so many people that bear the weight of being the judge in Fab. And it's like they never get to play.
Yeah.
But they're a part of this whole experience, and it's really cool.
And I love that Fab is giving them those like cool packs.
It is cool.
Those judge packs.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, we love you guys. It's like that's a way to incentivize them. AC, howdy guys. How's the store coming along? Zach, what do you think? Are we breaking ground this year or what? I heard we are absolutely breaking ground this year.
Here's the 4. Is 411 the right digits?
Yeah.
The 411? I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah, but I think this is a thing that we would get made fun of for using that.
I don't know why old people used to say it. Is that the number you call for like to get the director or something?
Yes, it was the director.
Here's the information.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Figured that out.
You guys don't even know party lines. You don't know what it's like to pick up a phone and hear your neighbor having a conversation. You have no idea.
I use words and sayings all the time, loosely knowing what they mean, from context, but not because I actually know. So 411 is one of those. Anyways,
No car phones. You don't remember bag phones.
what was the question?
These kids don't know anything, Zach. The 411 on. What were you giving me the 411 on?
Yeah.
The store. The
Oh
3.0,
yeah, there it is.
3.0.
Yeah, that old gem. So if you missed last year's updates about this, we had our plans, and then we shifted because we moved to this building because we needed to. Effectively, the spaces we were going to build for offices and warehouse on the 3.0 property weren't going to cut it for what we needed. And it was too expensive, and also just not. It was very limited because of the structure of the property and bound. Yeah. And anyway, so we opted to move here, which then led this whole process of moving and build out and stuff, and that took way longer and way more effort than expected. But that is to be expected. Everything costs more and takes longer than you want it to. And so we're just now finishing that up. It's still not even quite complete. The office is out there.
We got 2 couches on the way.
Yeah. And like the cleanup last step with all the extra stuff. But anyways, so now that that's ending, next steps are take another look at the plan.
We got to rework because we got to remove all the warehouse space and the office space because now it's here.
And it opens up so much.
For freaking paradise.
Yeah. It opens up so much because the restrictions that had to be, here's where the warehouse has to go because we have to have trucks be able to back up into it, which also dictates what the parking lot has to look like because trucks have to be able to maneuver around on this thing. Then that means, okay, here's where the warehouse has to go. So then that has so many implications on the actual play space itself. But you take all that out and it's like, oh, there's a lot less going on. It can be way more focused on being what it is meant to be, which is the greatest place in the world to play tabletop games. So it's in progress.
In the rooftop patio? You can put that in?
Aspire to break ground this year, and we'll see how long it takes to build. But if this warehouse is any indication, who knows how long it's going to take.
I think my house will be done in 6 months. From dirt to...
Let's see, January 24th. Mark me. They say Steven's house will be done in 6 months. July 24th.
July 24th.
We'll come back early July and touch base. For your sake and for your wife's sake, I pray to God it actually takes 6 or less months for you. I also pray that it does not randomly come with some 5+ figure surprise, right? Like
I do too, man.
Yeah.
Time is money. You know?
It's so in these build projects, there's so many different people involved, and once you involve more than anyone but yourself, it's so unreliable. Yeah, and so for us, it's like we have to update our plans, rework with the architects, get a finalized plan, hire a contractor, break ground. The contractor is going to hire 82 different contractors to build this thing.
We're going to walk the property, make sure they're not...
Yeah, and things always can go wrong too. Like we've had land surveys and all that kind of stuff, but like who knows? Maybe we get in the middle and it's like, this thing we were going to do is going to take 2 years to show up now. So you want to change that? Or
do you want to tell people the good news from the city, the state?
It's not good news yet.
Is it not yet?
Well, so another piece of this. Here we are.
Come on, man.
The property we bought is in a really cool area. It's right next to an awesome trail, like a big public trail
Midland
system.
Valley Trail.
Yeah. But the way one of the struggles has been the way to get on the property is currently limited through the alleyway, and so we're attempting to get an easement to build a new entry to the property, which is good for us and good for the city and connects to the trail and all this kind of stuff. That's underway, actually, officially, application submitted, waiting for feedback. At some point early February, they will either have responded and said, here's why we aren't going to do it, here's what we need you to do, here's et cetera, or they won't say any of that stuff and we'll be good to go. And if we're going to be good to go, that's like almost a champagne moment for me, because that has been a 2+ year.
That's the height of bureaucracy.
Yeah,
because you don't get more bureaucratic than that unless you get it signed by the president.
The problem with it is the trail is operated by the city of Tulsa. The land the trail is on is owned by the state of Oklahoma.
Perfect.
The state of Oklahoma has given the city of Tulsa the rights to utilize it for the trail.
I've done
so
this
the
before.
city is like, hey, we would love for you to do this. This would make the trail better. This would make that area of town better. They're all on board. But for them to do anything, they've got to get approval from the state of Oklahoma to use it for something that's not the trail.
Right.
This little sliver of land that we need.
Right.
So anytime, and I learned this with the liquor license / when we're serving beer and wine, anytime you involve multiple governmental institutions, patience is a virtue.
Patience is necessary.
Is a virtue.
Hey, check this out. I haven't even read this, but Alex is bringing the heat. Alex Becker. I have a weird counterpoint to kitchen.
All right.
I don't know what that means. No, wait, he says, I have a weird counterpoint to kitchen table games versus in-store play.
Okay.
He might be on voice dictation because my phone does this a lot. He's probably driving the mail route right now.
Reading your text is an art that I have
it's really
developed.
Bad.
Yeah,
it's really bad. Hey, Alex, also, can you call somebody up down here at Tulsa USPS and just can we get a hold of somebody?
Hold on. We got to pause. Keep that Alex Becker thing. Jay Zilla's comment here just is awesome. Literally just pulled my first curio while cracking sorcery packs on this stream. These were the boxes I ordered from TC, so it makes sense.
That's incredible.
What's the curio? Congratulations. We have a standing policy to open all the product and then just send the boxes reseal them and send just the boxes with the best stuff in them.
You know, I actually saw a comment early on when we were selling sorcery. People are trying to figure out where they're getting the sorcery from and seeing if there's good cards in the packs because they are seriously thinking that there are entities opening, pulling, and resealing packs.
I know it happens.
And I guess it happens.
In Pokemon, specifically. I've seen that happening.
But it's just such a mind-blowing thing to me that it would even be worth the time to do that. How would it even function? You do the thing, you pull the cards out, you try to find a good card. You have a stack of less good cards over here.
So in Pokemon,
you
open the packs until you find the Charizard.
Okay. Because there's one hit.
Well, there's just one Charizard. There's always the most valuable card in the set. It's just this is the Pokemon thing.
Okay.
So you're opening a box, right? You open 12 of the 36 packs.
Okay.
Find the Charizard. Okay. It's very unlikely there's multiple Charizard in the same box.
Right.
So now you got 24 packs you didn't have to open, first off. Second, you could be delicate enough to reseal packs that you had opened.
With glue or something?
There's machines that 100%, it's crazy. Yeah. So you replace the Charizard from the one pack, you seal that back up, you seal the 12 you opened, you put that in a box, you reseal this, some machine that can shrink wrap and looks enough like the whatever. Then you sell it on Amazon. And people would open it and they're like, these are genuine cards. You just didn't get the really rare mega hit. So you still get to sell the box at the normal X dollars of revenue. But then you also get to sell the Charizard for $300 or $400.
Do you know how widespread that is?
I don't. I just know that when I was looking at buying Magic boxes of the Lord of the Rings set, and their website linked me to Amazon, I was about to buy, and I was like, let me just ask in Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people were, you can buy it wherever you want, don't buy it from Amazon. Because people will resale boxes and they'll return boxes to Amazon that pass Amazon's check of, and people sometimes get boxes a couple weeks early. So the resale send back to Amazon, get a refund, then you'll get sent the box from Amazon. And now you're
uncomfortable
in a whole thing.
Do people do that or do businesses do that? I can't imagine it being scalably worth it for a business.
I saw a Reddit thread.
Oh, here we go.
Of a person that was working at a local game store.
Okay.
Who at first didn't recognize this was what was happening, but at some point got looped into this process of, here's what you're going to do. You're going to open it until you find the Charizard and you're going to put the rest of the packs here. And he's like, that's really interesting. And then he kind of dug deeper, and they were basically doing that thing, which is, okay, now there's 24 packs that aren't going to have Charizard in it. So let's sell those by the pack, or let's rebox those up into...
Put them on whatnot.
Sure.
There you go.
Et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, it is a big thing. So much so that people are telling me not to buy Magic on Amazon. But it's so baffling to me that you would do it. And mathematically, imagine if you were a store that could sell 12 boxes for, let's say they're $100 each, $1,200. Or you could sell 12 boxes for $1,200 and also a single card at $400 or $500. Yeah. So the $500, how many hours can you spend doing it to make $500?
Well, let me tell y'all, we would never do that. Ethically, morally, impossible. Not going to happen. And if you ever hear otherwise or see video of anything different, send it directly to me.
If someone was doing that here, I cannot tell you how quickly they would get fired.
Our goal is that they don't have time to do it.
Yeah. It's also, anyways.
Success. Okay, anyway, Alex, I have a weird counterpoint to kitchen table games versus in-store play.
Yeah, back to it.
I play Flesh and Blood and only really have time for one game.
He says he plays Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, he put some cards on the table.
Now he's the real deal now. He's got a podcast.
So knowing that I can go to the store at a set time every week and get games versus trying to schedule someone to come over to play at my house is kind of appealing to me, which might be why I haven't touched Sorcery. I think that's absolutely correct.
But yes, okay, a few things on that. It is absolutely correct. But there are a lot of people who don't engage in the hobby in that way and wouldn't engage in that way. I know so many, again, it's just when we say kitchen table, literally, group of 3 or 4 friends that play board games together or just hang out at each other's houses, which is very different. And with Fab and Sorcery, or Fab and Magic, competing in that space like we were talking about earlier, yeah, you might want to try to become a game that people play every week at the local game store at a set day and time, because that's a great benefit. Mm-hmm. But that is so actually hard to do.
Yeah, how many can be that?
Because retailers and players, both. This is the loop we always find ourselves in. They can't care about every game. They can't support every game. You can't have a community around every game. And as Sorcery, you're having to compete with those people for that space and that attention. Which is very hard to do. It would be great if you could find Sorcery every Thursday night at every game store in the world. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But to actually pull that off and the cost and effort and energy and what it requires,
it's not possible. It's not possible. You'd have to remake the system.
Not possible is interesting.
You'd have to remake the system.
I think Fab has done the best at it that I've seen.
Yes.
At actually instilling themselves into that kind of environment. But at the same time, I think Fab did a lot of really good things, made a lot of really good decisions, was very ready, and had the ball bounce their way in 2020.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is the exception, not the rule, because there's 1,000 other games that have tried and died.
Tried and died.
So
they also had a very clear vision and a very clear
that's what I'm
strategy.
Saying. It's like all the right stuff happened over here.
They tried to go direct to retail. They were trying to remake the system.
Yeah. From the get.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think what it takes, and then also what has to happen that is also outside of your control, it's such a challenge.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Meantime, Frank's saying I almost solely play kitchen table, so Sorcery is ideal. It's great. Everyone kind of does their thing. Torres says I'm primarily a board gamer. Sorcery scratches that itch for me, especially using the mat. Okay. A lot of great comments here. Thank you. A lot of Star Wars Unlimited stuff. Not going there yet. Nathaniel, I love how the stream is called Monday Live. That's right. Some Rudy stuff. Pillar of Zeros is maybe the playmat, etc. What's up, Taylor Evelyn's here. Dang, missed the start of the stream. What's going on? Good to see you, Taylor. Anthony Harper. Hey, guys, I've been looking into Sorcery more and more, but after talking to multiple LGSs around me, nobody seems interested in carrying it. Where can I go to scratch that competitive itch right now? Here's what I think is going to happen. Here, you know what? Just unboxing. Let's just unbox it. There are only, as Zach was saying, so many games that are going to get the attention of the LGS and can possibly sustain a weekly meetup. Lorcana's big enough, wide enough. Disney got it. That's one. Magic's been there forever. Got
Lorcana, notably, their strategy. It's a collectible game based on one of the biggest IPs in the world ever, that is playable and appealing to possibly any age range imaginable. And also, because it's Disney and collectible, is going to appeal to a huge collector base that doesn't even care about the game.
Yeah,
that is a game built to go wide.
That's right. Yeah,
that's why I keep mentioning Fab. The fact that it happened as much as it did for them, we've been doing this a while.
It's amazing.
That is the exception, not the rule, and that is a miracle. And it was a ton of work and also really great timing. Anyway, sorry.
99% of indie games like this are not going to have LGS support, strictly. We just need it. We need to accept that is the reality of this situation, be it through various distribution reasons, be it through interest reasons, be it through why do I want my community to play a once-a-year releasing game instead of Magic where they buy 4 to 5 sets a year. There's all sorts of good reasons that this just really is not going to happen very much. So if you want to have those kinds of experiences, you're going to need to find one friend who wants to have them with you, or one person, and that can be difficult. I know, but it's possible, and you can rely on connections that you made in the past. It's going to be at conventions. It's going to be at regional style meetups like the Sorcery Con that we're going to in Seattle. It's going to be up to. There's also a number of other ones that are happening that we'll mention here very shortly. There's these little events that are going on, these kind of regional style events, maybe national style events that community members are going to put on and host. That's where it's going to happen, the vast majority. You can get on Tabletop Simulator if you want to kind of just scratch the edge in that kind of a way. But it's not like we need to stop thinking if only some magical flip gets switched, these independent TCGs will be in every LGS across the country. It is not how the system is designed to work, nor will it ever work that way. The incentives are not there. It's not going to happen. So different expectations around independent TCGs is good. And I think we need to understand that, find people to play these with on a more local, casual level. It is going to involve going to a mutual space like a bar or a pub or a library or something to play. It might also involve getting to know somebody and going to your house, their house, etc. Maybe getting 3, 4, 5 people involved and having kind of a rotating thing going on. It's just going to have to be outside of the box for really getting these communities together. But the beautiful thing is stuff like that happens every day, all the time, with tons of different games that have come out previously and are still happening. So like we said, there's a Middle Earth CCG Championship every year. There's a Star Wars CCG Championship every year. There's even before the relaunch, what's the Boot Scoot and Boogie game?
Doomtown.
Even before Doomtown got rebooted, that they were doing their
Can
stuff.
we just refer to it as Boot Scoot Boogie from now on?
It's a bummer, but the system will not change unless something drastically changes it. So it's unfortunate, but there are other avenues, and I think it's really about like finding and lifting up those avenues of play, rather than saying if the LGS doesn't support it, I can't do it. We got to find a new way to think about this. So thank you, Anthony, for that comment. I like Ryback here. I like that comment, but I'm trying to get to where I can actually engage with the stream we're supposed to be doing. Hello, Dice Hand Entertainment said, hello, guys. Nice seeing you again. Nice. Glad to hear there's only once in a year of Sorcery. It gives me time to breathe, etc., etc. Also, Justin mentioning there's a Sorcery League that has been for a year now. I'm a judge for that, and that is on TTS, I believe. A
true community hero.
All right,
the judges, man.
I'm just gonna go down. I'm just gonna go.
Yep.
I'm going.
Sometimes you just gotta get to the bottom of the feed.
Chris Ainsworth, good to see you, Chris. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. I'm glad to be with TC Live. We're glad to have you here, Chris, and everybody else. Really a pleasure. Angleworm saying, if you're interested in Sorcery, please pick up some pre-cons, put them in front of your peers. Almost every friend I've showed the game has hopped on. It sells itself. We've had 3 friends that don't engage in tabletop gaming at all have gotten involved in Sorcery. Now they're adjacent. They're nerdy friends, but they're not typically TCG and board game style.
I don't know why that word, like, just I hate that word. Like,
I'm glad that you hate it.
When people walk in, they're like, "What up, nerds?" It's like,
yeah, well, that's a bit different, but they are on the they've played video games, they've grown up in fantasy and
like D&D the word nerd and geek. I don't just in my heart of hearts. It's almost like. I have this inside baseball. I have this weird. I won't say aversion, but like when we talk about people who buy things from us as customers or players, it's like, yeah, they are customers by the textbook definition, but like it just feels so like, gross.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's why I did this when I said nerds.
Yeah, I know. I just can see your face here and I can hear you, so here it is. All
right, let's talk about the news.
Oh, we made it.
Let's cover the news. Here, insert stinger here.
On that front, mentioning Sting, I told you I was going to Greensboro in early March to see his last wrestling match, right?
You didn't tell me that. Big fan of you doing that.
Man,
glad you're doing it.
I am so excited. It's
just can't hide it. Man.
It's going to be awesome. I can't believe he's still wrestling. It's an absolute miracle.
Okay. Let's go to the tape. Let's start with Earthborn.
All right.
Listen, Earthborn's having a moment here. It's a big moment for Earthborn Rangers. The second printing.
What are we at?
The game found is on. I'm going to go to my computer. I'm going to make sure there's nothing I can't show y'all.
Smash that refresh button.
There's the song. There's the Jonathan meeting. And I've got, it's a bit of a lag on the scroll.
Open it in some window and go full screen and then not worry about it?
No,
You don't want to have that tab that says like, "Tell Zach he sucks." You know?
Yeah.
Tell Zach he's a nerd.
The good thing about having nothing to hide is you don't have to hide anything. I just want to make sure that I don't have anything to hide. See? All right, let's go to it. There we are. Okay, check this bad boy out. Pretty good for a day. 424 grand.
What was the? Do you know the original Kickstarter total?
It was like 450.
Wow.
We're almost there.
I'll tell you. Talking about taking things at a pace. I have a 4-player Earthborn group. Played our first session over the break.
Yeah.
One, it was super fun. This game. I was driving home after. This game is something else, man. Set in the far future where humans got together to make the world better and solve problems. And then the whole point of the game is exploring the world and helping people along the way.
Yeah. But also the game is just great.
So refreshing. Too. Yeah. But it's just a refreshing.
It's a refreshing theme, yeah.
Theme and mechanics, everything about it. But we've scheduled a once a month get together to play situation. So it's really cool to see this doing so well.
This game is incredible.
Yeah. This is the game that did not. It's a good example of not looking at the data.
Yeah.
And following the algorithm.
Follow the vision.
It was literally just, there's something I want to put into the world. Andrew had a vision from the very start. I mean, the early sketches, the early conversations we had back in, I don't know, 2019, maybe 2020. Mm-hmm. It was early. And
look at it come to life, too.
It's really cool to see. I'm so proud of you, Andrew. Yeah. This is great.
It's amazing. And and we speculated for a long time that LCGs were not a product for retail stores.
Yep.
Like local retail stores. This game has never touched a local retail store.
I don't know. That's true. There's like retailer pledges and stuff.
Oh, right. You know? The people who actually just do it from the Kickstarter. But it's never gone through wholesale and distribution.
As far as I know, yeah.
424,000 right there.
Jazel's comment got me.
All right, let's look at it. What it is, though.
Y'all. What it is.
Check this out.
Come on now.
The color's going to be weird because I'm not HDMIing through my. So sorry, Andrew's probably like, this is all.
I love that piece of art. You see that tree golem in the bottom right?
Yeah.
Scroll down a little.
That guy.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm on the
Angry Worm, I think I need to leave the stream before I'm convinced to buy something.
You guys will notice I am plus. I'm unfortunately I'm giving that away. I pledged $50 as the recurring because I went all in on the first one, and that number's going to go up.
Dude, I was just slapping everything in there. All the miniatures. Come on.
Look at this.
Andrew's saying distribution in Europe and UK.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Torres asking if they explained why GamePound and not Kickstarter. I don't know. That'd be an Andrew question.
GamePound is supposed to be they're really trying to get all the tabletop audience onto GamePound from Kickstarter.
I believe that's what Andrew was saying, distribution.
They're dedicated to tabletop games. Mm-hmm. I think that maybe they offer better terms.
I mean, we talk about strategy and positioning, right? Various games, but as a platform, it makes sense. Kickstarter is actually weirdly popular for games, but when I started learning what the hoops people were jumping through post Kickstarter to make the Kickstarter thing work, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And that's part of where I think GamePod started as a pledge manager for Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, hey, we're also going to add the capacity just to do the thing here integrated in this. Anyways.
This game is such a delight to play. Stitch and play so.
It's almost like you're reading it from a script. Got him.
Check this out. Okay, so this is a reprinting of the core set.
Andrew says just wanted to try GamePound out.
Oh.
Exploration.
Did he game find out?
Well, he's not done yet. He's still finding.
So basically, across all of these items, they're going to be 20% off what is their inevitable MSRP.
Yeah, so the core, it's worth mentioning, we have the core set and the card doubler in stock, shipping within one business day, as all standard orders do from us.
Yeah.
So if you want it now, you can get it. If you want it with a discount later, this is also a great way to do it.
And the other difference here is I think there were 5 errated cards that they did in this bad boy.
But you buy the core set from us now. And then you come. They have that. I got the errata pack. That was in your $50 thing.
Yeah, the errata pack is $5, but also you don't even need to errata the cards.
Yeah,
I've been playing this whole time. I don't even know what the errata is, so I'm sure.
You also maybe haven't encountered the thing that needs the errata.
Well, you know, I'll get through it, Zach. I'm a smart young man. I can have fun the way I want to.
That might be my favorite style of art in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't even know what you call that.
That's an Earthborn special right there. Is what that is.
It's like almost like sketched, but light colors happening.
Yeah. But anyway, if you don't have the core game, just go ahead and get that. Just get it. Get it
just
from our
ship
site
it.
or back it on GameFound if you want it later. It's one of the greatest experiences I've had.
Now look at that.
Tabletop.
You just went right past all of it.
Sorry. That whole thing?
Yeah.
Well, we're getting to the specifics as we go.
Okay.
I've got a bit of a delay on my scroll too.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
I've got,
if you own nothing, there's the all-in thing. And the way Andrew set this up was really clever. Because it's like, here's the core game. And it's like, if you own the core game, you will see in a second. Here's the package.
Do you think Andrew Navarro did this? There's no way he did this.
This up?
Somebody with a different brain than Andrew set all of this up.
I will let him speak for that. But I know his past several weeks have been very focused and busy on this project. So don't take that credit from him. I think he slaved over this project.
Just absolutely.
Listen, here's
lightly taunting Andrew on this stream, knowing that he's listening there in Costa Rica.
Here's what I know about Andrew. Andrew is a very thoughtful, considerate person, and I think not in like an overreaching, I have to be involved in everything kind of way, but like in a
talk to the team about
he
that.
cares to a level that I would not be surprised if he was heavily involved in all this.
He said, I did. But how could we know that? How could we?
Because I know Andrew. You know, heart of hearts. Anyways,
yeah, you're right. $205 for everything. That's if you're a new player, you're coming in blind. You want to get everything, you want to just go. So this is it.
My monthly group is planning on playing through. We're trying to get to day 30 at some point.
Good.
And we're about one session, and one literal
that's where
day,
we are too. Yeah.
So for $205, that's probably like 200 hours of our time to complete once.
It might be 1,000 hours of Jonathan and I's playtime.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. Anyways,
It's
put it on the box.
It's the real deal, people. It has so much to offer. If you don't believe us, believe Mike from One Stop Co-op Shop. Although it's kind of false advertising, because if you're watching us, it was not your one stop. There was additional stops.
It's not that you can't stop anywhere else, but you don't have to. You know what I mean?
Very good name. A lot catchier than Team Covenant.
You can get all your groceries from Quick Trip if you want, but I don't recommend it.
All right, I'm on the. It'll scroll eventually here. While it isn't scrolling though, look at this art. You know, they did wizards so well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not actually wizards.
It's like wizards in the way that in the original trilogy of Star Wars, those were Jedi.
Yeah.
But before it was
made to mean nothing.
It became the modern day social media of doom scrolling.
That's it, man. That's it.
Hey, you know what? This frame could use 5 more lightsabers.
Legacy of the Ancestors. So this is the expansion. Now, in the Kickstarter, you may have already backed this, so don't back it a second time.
And it says that right above this, right?
I think so.
When you get to the pledge levels, it tells you.
So I already backed this in the original Kickstarter, but I get to see a little bit more about what it is. And you notice that the art, of course, is phenomenal, but it's upside down.
Uh-huh. And
that's because it's about subterranean exploration of the world.
For some reason, this art style and this picture reminds me so much of Mario.
Does it?
You know, when you're going to like the caves or the underwater sequences or whatever, it feels like we've now gone through the tube to get to this land.
It's beautiful. I can't wait to get that box, Zach. There's some things here that I haven't looked at too much because I'm going to be a little surprised. But we're going down into the world. Arcology there, look at that. Hey, you know what's going to happen on this very channel?
Would you look at that?
We're going to reveal the campaign map for the first time, I think.
Is that what? What?
Yeah, we're going to reveal the campaign map for this for the first time.
On this here stream?
Maybe as early as next week.
Oh, okay.
Or a week after.
Is that water into flame?
That's spirit speak. They're spirit speaking.
That is
so do you
sacrilegious.
know what the spirit speaker does?
I assume they speak to spirits.
Do you know what it means mechanically?
No clue. No.
All right, so check
but
this
this
out.
Person looks
Andrew,
amazing.
Before I do this, can you give me verification on the chat that I can tell people what you told me about how the spirit speaker functions in a broad sense? Because I think it's the coolest. They continue to do things that drive me
Is
crazy.
this like a thing being cast, or is that like a familiar?
It's a spirit.
That's something that's following her around, or them around?
Like a Cerberus in chains, but a little bit more
magical.
Look at that team.
Dude, look at the guy with the glasses / goggles.
Where's the role-playing book? All right, so this is the real new content. So this has not appeared except for the first time here, this place.
Did I hold on, Andrew? While you're verifying things in the chat, did I see that Andrew Fisher was lead on design for the Stormlight Archive RPG?
No way.
Did I see that? Is that a real thing?
This is a dream team.
Anyways,
The
go
Pro
ahead.
Bowl. All right, so check this out. This is what Spirit Speakers do.
Okay.
So I think you can spend 1 energy
Mm-hmm.
to enter your spirit trance. And that's your action card. You can do that. When you enter the trance, you swap your common test card for a brand new set of 4 tests that only the spirit speaker who is in their trance has access to. I don't know what those tests are, but I assume it's a fit test, a spirit test, a focus test, etc.
There it is.
That are different
I wasn't quite following until you
from the
go
common
on.
test.
Yeah.
So you go into a trance. Now suddenly you can do these 4
You like
tests.
go to
that
the
nobody
spirit
else can
world,
ever
and it's
do.
like this whole different game.
Are you crazy?
That's cool. Yeah, 2 thumbs up, man. I'm in.
I mean, are you crazy? Anyways, here's the Ranger card expansion. So this is the truly new. Look at this art. Is this art not just the best?
So
art
this
you've ever
is
seen?
just Ranger cards, and this is a totally new expansion.
Yeah. So this is like your spirit speaker building, your new tail spinner stuff background that you can use.
What's a
Background
tail
is
spinner?
specialty. I can't remember, Andrew, between the two. A tail spinner is like a bard. They spin tails.
Gotcha.
T-A-L-E.
I was picturing like Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog,
I was picturing DuckTales.
and it's like, can they fly? A bard is awesome.
Yeah, so it's about you have probably an instrument and you sing to the crew. And you know how it goes.
I would love to play a bard at some point.
And it's got a bunch of other new cards for the existing backgrounds and stuff and all of that. So it's basically just a whole bunch of deck building.
Yeah, I like
like an
them using
RPG
that.
supplement.
That size box too is fantastic.
Yeah, a nice little box, isn't it?
It's just good for like holding decks and stuff.
Look at that. See, Cartographer of the many worlds. Exhaust, spin, and energy to spirit speak. You flip it, and then you get the new thing. And then there's a bunch of cards, of course.
Yeah, that's really cool.
There's the tail spinner. Makes you think it's a cat, but I think it's a bard.
Yeah.
Chant out, quiet as the night. You got the ocarina there, of course. Beautiful,
Apparently, Andrew Fisher is lead design on the Stormlight Archive RPG.
incredible. Loot
Man.
here, and
That little creature in the background there, where your mouse was.
right here.
Look at
That's
him.
beautiful today. And new options for your core game stuff. So you've got now this anchorite of stone that can add it
They'll get a
to
new role,
conduit
right?
or ready it. You've got like,
Yeah.
these new cards. So like you're just gonna get that, obviously. Number 1 rule is you're gonna get that.
Yeah.
Card doubler we've seen before.
Yep.
Moments of the Path deck expansion, beautiful.
Mm.
30 cards that you can add to the Path deck in some way that I don't know that are moments. And it's like it's like single use cards in Arkham when they get revealed and you resolve them.
It happens.
And you draw the challenge icon and it tells you what happens. Some of them are kind of good and some of them are kind of bad.
As you would expect.
So there's a cold wind or like a fork in the trail or you're compelled to leave no trace. Okay. Information for returning back.
See, this is what I was saying. This is what's clever.
Okay, yeah.
So, core game pledge says all you need to enjoy Earthborn. So that's just the core game. But then you see they have the returning backer pledge, and it's choose this pledge if you back the original crowdfunding campaign at the gameplay all-in level.
Yeah.
So that was
Smart.
great because I was like, well, I know I did that.
You
So
need
add this
and
thing to my cart.
Andrew did all of this. He did it all himself. What did
It was. I'm sure it was just him. The
what a
whole
great-
thing.
What a great guy.
But
He
yeah,
did it.
so I was literally scrolling through here. I skipped all the stuff you just looked at. I hit that button, which
Yeah,
was
hold on,
the
mate.
armor. Oh, you're frozen.
Yeah, I'm frozen for a second. Yeah.
Get a new computer, bro.
Dude, no, I don't know. It's when you plug in the HDMI, it's trying to drive 1,000 watts over to the
What
main screen. I
what
don't know.
year is that bad boy you're driving over there?
It's new. It's pretty new. I think this is a function of something that is not in control. I think it has to do also with the preview monitor and a lot of the things involved in that.
Totally Random Studio saying I love that. I love the idea of being a bard and literally saving the day with a song.
Yeah.
I used to, when we were kids, and it was like, hey, let's roll up characters to play Dungeons and Dragons, I would say, I can't because my parents won't let me, clearly. That was like the default answer. Uh-oh, your computer
There it goes.
just did its thing.
See, it didn't like that.
So if you're watching this, Mom, just know that what I'm about to do is explain as a fictitious scenario where we're rolling D&D characters. And
It's so funny.
I used to always want to be a wizard or a warrior, right?
Yeah, that's acceptable.
But I think if I was doing it today, like we did some RPGs a year or two ago, in the office, and like, I don't know. I would way rather be a bard now than anything else.
That's just the wisdom of age.
I was gonna say it may just be me getting old, and it's like, you know what? I'll let the youngins be the warriors and the wizards, and I'll just drink my ale and sing my tunes back here.
Sing my songs.
Yeah, and in that case, being able to play a character who can actually sing, it'd be really a nice, alternate reality for me.
That's true.
Anyways, go ahead.
That's good. That's good.
See,
good
it says
image,
choose this pledge if you already own the core set.
Yeah.
So you didn't back the all-in level, but you own the core set. This is everything else.
Yeah.
Same thing here. All gameplay content available. So if you don't own nothing, you hit this button. Then, of course, you add on.
Now, this is where things get problematic.
I don't see them as problems at all.
How do you not get these, first of all? The Ranger tokens with the little... How do you not get those?
Well, so because if you scroll down, I get all the miniatures. So I have the series 1, but I added all the other ones to my cart.
You got 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah, absolutely. What am I supposed to do, not own those?
You're a freaking whale, man.
Dude, the thing
I was
is...
excruciating over whether I could even get one of them.
I did all. Put it in the cart. What am I going to miss this? No. Anyways, but it's
paint them?
It's nice. I actually have something else happening there, which I'll explain to you later.
Whoa.
I'm not going to, but they are going to get painted. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Scroll up a little. So it's awesome. The wooden Ranger tokens are a high quality option for people that want to spend $15.
Yeah.
But the miniatures being added onto this, it really is touching in that RPG vibe to me.
Yeah.
Because real RPGers, real ones, you know what I'm talking about, they got painted miniatures now. That's a thing. I used to just play in the back of the band bus because that's the only place my parents couldn't find me.
Right.
I didn't actually play. It's hypothetical, Mom.
I didn't have anything to do with that either.
Yeah, no way. Magic cards, gross.
Check this out. This is also a problem.
I bought one of these because I didn't get this mat last time.
I'm figuring out it's only a problem because I don't want to spend all the money. If you come in here and just say, I just buy everything that I want, it seems like it's less excruciating a decision.
That's exactly what I do. That's it. I don't even think about it. Yeah, hit the buttons, buy the thing. But, it's going to a good cause. I love the idea of this game and this publisher and this creator of this and the entire team succeeding. So I see the purchase as a good deed.
Yeah,
a totally selfless good deed. In fact, I might submit it on my taxes as a charitable I'm just kidding. I won't do that. But you get the idea.
It's hard not to get this one at least.
I'm not getting that one, so you should.
Really? You haven't gotten any of the setting ones?
I think I grabbed the Aatrox Mountain one.
See, I'm only getting this one because I already have one that's outside.
Yeah, I don't.
But I can't be outside if I'm in a cave.
I'm one behind you on that purchase.
All right, let's just add it here. We'll do it live. Am I going to expose my information? No. Submit pledge. Can I do that?
I don't know.
All right, you guys can't see my... No, don't show me anything.
Yeah, you got to get out of here. You got to do this later.
Okay. You can get they're going to steal my credit cards. All right, that's it. Anyway, it's a beautiful campaign. It's an incredible game. It's an incredible team. Couldn't recommend it enough. So, back Earthborn if you haven't already. Wonderful. Congratulations, Andrews.
And we're doing some streams.
And the whole team.
In the next couple weeks.
The whole team is incredible.
About Earthborn.
Yeah, we're going to do some streams.
And some previews and some excitement. And
we're going to do some streams.
Stuff.
Some excitement, some previews, etc.
Looking forward to it.
Hey, let's go next up. Let's talk about...
We're supposed to be done in 7 minutes?
Let's talk about...
I got
to read
next.
Let's talk about Alpha Clash here for a second.
Alpha Clash. I've been getting a lot of questions about this one from my competitive friends.
Yeah, so tell me about that.
Well, they have questions, so they ask me. I'm just kidding. What are you looking up the convention thing?
Check this out. Look at this.
I just saw Iron Man. Now a Stormtrooper. I thought that Alpha Clash logo was on the website. I was like, wow.
There's Alpha Clash there. So anyway.
This is the Level Up Expo. Happened in Vegas.
This is Level Up Expo. So if you go over here to tournaments.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Look at that. I won. So they got all these console tournaments, right? Street Fighter, Smash Bros, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball, PC gaming tournaments. Valorant, Counter-Strike, Minecraft, Tabletop tournament. Well, looky here.
The first thing up. Click on it. Let's just see what happens.
Beautiful art there.
War.
Okay, I think I gotta click on.
Dude, the past couple months have been kind of wild for me.
It takes me to
personally.
Realm Games My Shopify.
Yeah, my friends over at Realm Games.
Yeah, Realm doing great.
What up,
They
Keith?
really are doing a great job on the just hosting events and stuff. So here's a bunch of information.
So it's talking about tournaments and prizes and stuff. Alpha Clash announced an organized play circuit. They are playing strategically in that space, and they have a 10K going on, which got the attention of a lot of really competitive players.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest about that. But it's happening at a Level Up Expo in Vegas, April 26th to 28th. They're doing some cool stuff. They have the 10K, but they also have the pre-release of the next set, which comes out like a month later, happening at that event as well.
They're just going for it, man.
And that's, I think, the first events that are happening, and maybe there might be some local versions I've been trying to find out, but that you can qualify for their Pro Tour, which is happening later this year.
Yeah, so they're going all in.
Yep.
I love it. I mean, try it out, Sorcery going a totally different direction. Alpha Clash saying like, well, we'll just do this for comic books, superheroes, independent comics, that kind of thing.
And they've kind of had the slant the whole time of wanting to bridge that audience of comic book readers into this space. So all the comic art they're doing, they had their Kickstarter for the novel, which I was just talking about. I finally had some time, and I'm getting to the end of that book. And I stopped like just short of the most exciting stuff happening in that book last time I was reading. But they've been going to a ton of conventions, like superhero Comic-Con style conventions. Mm-hmm. And Level Up is one of those, like, it's not on my radar because I'm in the tabletop world. Yeah. So that, if anything, is probably their most unique aspect. Yeah. Which is,
they're trying to bridge the
we
world.
think there's this giant audience over here that would be interested in this hobby, which is cool. Yeah. Like that's very compelling.
I hope they succeed at it too. Because like look at that. That's awesome. I love this.
I haven't even seen that.
That's Unrivaled.
Oh, this is the what are their names? The Discarded. Finally get support.
Is it Discarded?
I think it's Discarded.
Long-awaited Discard affiliation. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Boy read his book.
That's awesome. And then also one notable thing. Check out. Have you seen the box for Unrivaled? They did their ambassador program is back.
Mm-hmm.
So got the ambassador. So check that out if you want to do that on the Discord. You can check that out.
Set 3 apparently scheduled for May 31st. That's a far in advance. That's a commitment to be making, which is cool.
They're doing these little shorts. Very cool.
Oh, this set, you'll get excited about this, contains a 16-piece card collage.
Oh, sick. I love those.
You know it.
There's the box art. I don't know if the color is weird for y'all on your screen. It probably is because we're in the HDMI connection.
It is weird on that screen.
That's a great.
New contender supporting the Discard affiliation. I guess I could have looked at that before I spoke. Ambassador program. There's also a TTS league starting February 6th run by Tavern Brawlers.
That's right.
And
Tavern Brawlers doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
You kind of see this with these, what I would call indie TCGs or games in general. Even Fab. We talk about this a lot, but like so many of the communities that happen are happening because someone in the community is running it. And so that's a good example of run by Tavern Brawlers. It's like, this is an independent
let him go
effort that's going on. So more and more, I feel like if you're a publisher that's not Magic, Pokemon, or Yu-Gi-Oh, setting up systems that allow people to run with it is one, and that's where the ambassador program is relevant too. Yeah, is one of the most powerful things you can do because people that really care and will contribute, and you just have to make that as easy as possible.
You're right. Here's how you get the next. This is set 3. You're gonna get to the
this is how you get it. Right?
Booster box subscription.
Oh man, dude, marketing doing its job.
Like you can get any number of boxes you want.
I don't even think through any of the sorcery conversations we were like, hey, you can buy it from us. It's in stock.
So there's and that's set 3. So you can see here, Unrivaled is the next charge that's coming through that sub and the exclusive promo. You can even slide that around if you didn't know that. And then this is the draft box, and this is coming up next. Actually, this is the next thing that's happening. Pretty fascinating thing that they're doing here, where they're doing their reprints from set 1 and 2. They're doing a lot of alt art treatments of those cards and throwing them in a draft box that is built for draft experience. So you can either subscribe to get that, and that comes with an exclusive promo as well. You can see it here. Or you can actually just buy it standalone. It also comes with a promo.
A little inside baseball. Scroll down. You can get that promo nice and there it is.
Yeah. Awesome. Excellent.
I think you can click it. Click it again. What happens if you
click it again? Click it.
Open a new
Where's Larry?
Get out of here.
Come on, let me get Larry on.
Yeah, just roast them real quick. How did this happen?
Here?
This is
full screen.
This is a test we're running.
Yeah, that's right.
Steven's theory of subscriptions spooking people as a word. I get it. The subscriptions are a loaded word.
It is a loaded word. Nobody wants to do a subscription.
How do you get out of this? Is there an X on? It's on the top right. You can see.
I know. I just can't see it because of the
Year
window.
of the Dragon. So this is cool. Like you said, this is the cards from the first 2 sets. There's alt arts in there. And if you're brand new to the game, it's good timing because they did this OP announcement. People are starting to ask a lot of questions. And so it's really hard for these smaller publishers to keep everything in print all the time.
Yeah.
So the ability to create draft sets, I love this. They're seemingly planning on 2 sets, draft set, 2 sets, draft set, 2 sets, draft set. And so they can mix up and create unique draft formats every time using historical cards. It's a great way to reprint cards without reprinting entire sets. And you can always kind of point new players to this product.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever
the latest draft box is probably a really good place to start.
Yeah, it's a good place to buy in. So there's Alpha Clash. Let's see what else we got. What else is in the news?
Arkham Horror.
Arkham Horror.
And I got some things to say about this one.
Oh,
weirdly.
okay.
Arkham Horror, late February. There's a player expansion coming out and a campaign expansion.
They're coming out at the same time, right?
Nope, not quite. They're coming out 1 week apart.
They love that move.
Yeah, I really, like I said, I have a lot to say. So they switched to and I think it makes total sense. They used to do 1 pack. They do a deluxe followed by 1 pack a month for 6 months, usually followed by a supplemental product, like a standalone thing. Then we get another deluxe and we'd rinse repeat. And knitting the deluxe and the 6 packs down into a campaign expansion, which is the story being told, and the player cards, I think makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons. Primarily, there were things where it'd be like, there's a really good player card in pack 2, so that pack sells out. And if you try to find this later, you actually can't buy the whole story, or you have to track down 7 different SKUs to buy that campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So forward, if you look back and it's like, what if you could buy the Dunwich campaign or the Carcosa campaign in a box? It makes sense.
Yeah, great. Well,
Same thing with,
them for that reason.
like with Earthborn, I gifted one of my friends in my group a card doubler so that he could play with us with his own set of cards. But he didn't need to have the campaign because there's 4 of us playing and we don't all need the campaign material. So in the same way with the player expansion for Arkham, the ability for players to buy just the player cards and not everyone at the table have to buy the campaign itself makes a lot of sense. But releasing them a week apart is like...
Why? Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
We've got to make 2 shipments through subscriptions.
From our lens, of course, we're saying that.
Retailers have got to place what? 2 orders? 2 separate deliveries? 2 separate release moments?
Yeah.
It boggles the mind.
Yeah. It would make more sense if you were releasing them like, I don't know, a couple months apart.
Yeah.
So you can stack, the outlay of cash that people are going to spend to play this game. So it's not like on top of each other. But if they're releasing a week,
yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, but I'm jacked for it just because it's been like 1,000 years since I've thought about a new Arkham release, and it looks like it's really great.
Yeah. And can you pull it up? Is that the next release happening on these Arkham subscriptions? You don't have to show it on screen. I just want to make sure I'm not telling people to sign up for a subscription that's already come and gone,
Next charge is Feast of Hemlock Vale. At the time of that charge, this will immediately switch to next charge, the Feast of Hemlock Vale campaign, and then it will charge.
Important to note, you probably can't say it enough. You sign up for a subscription, you can cancel it for free anytime you want, but once you're charged, deal's done.
No going back.
Yeah.
See, this is normal. September 30th, November 18th. Okay. November 19th, December 3rd. Fine, I guess. What's that, 3 weeks?
Is this... Scroll up a little. Do we have a singular subscription for this?
Yeah.
And then it ships together when it can and doesn't when it doesn't?
Yeah, because it was originally supposed to ship together and then it didn't.
Oh, that's
But we can't split it out until we build the thing. So we got to build the thing. If you want to split it. Yeah, so it's been about a month before. Look at that, though. That's compelling. Copy.
Who wrote that? Give him a raise.
All right, what's next? Zach.
Ashes. Most important note, we have a pre-order for the playmats up. We're going to be streaming Ashes on Monday. We have a pre-order for the playmats on the website.
Let me get those going.
And the pre-orders are going to end, according to my notes, on February 7th. I believe that's accurate. So if you want them, order them before then, because we're not planning on having extra and having them in stock and that whole business.
We'll probably have a few.
It's up in the...
We'll probably have a few, yeah.
But we're not... It's not like... Don't expect this to just be available later. If you want these are exclusive playmats. Partner and Plaid had on this. Some of the best art in tabletop gaming. You can pre-order them through February 7th and get your mats, and we'll be showing some of these on Monday.
And if you want to be like cool, like play Fab on a different non-Fab mat, you know, that this is a great one to
Just
choose.
be a little more interesting than everyone else.
And to be like weird, like indie, you know, where it's like people will be like, where did that come from? They'll have no idea.
Yeah.
I'd be like, came from Ashes, man.
Where's that bird from?
What's it? What's that?
The whale.
What's that cosmic gate?
I know people that need that whale playmat.
Dude.
It's like, I just, just
Oh,
help.
the high roller
help.
playmat.
Yeah, that's right.
All these playmats are gorgeous, guys.
There's a subset of Wolfpack, which is the testing team on for Flesh and Blood, that likes, every time we travel to a major city, likes to have like one nice dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of other people on the team that are like, I would never pay more than X dollars for a meal.
Yeah, I'll just have the potato kind of thing.
But we were jokingly saying last time that we should start calling ourselves the high rollers. You just said high roller, so I thought that was funny.
That is.
Anyways.
Check this out, too.
Uh-oh.
Look at this. The Ashes website at Plaid Hat Games. 30% off all Ashes products when you spend $250 or more. Ashes Catch-Up. Is it a joke? Like, not the sale. Is that an Ash Ketchum joke?
That's funny.
Is it, though?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Plaid Hat, you tell me. Let me say this. Ashes.
I'm going to turn a knob up.
Ashes is one of the greatest card games ever. And we were talking earlier about Sorcery. This is another one of those like little engine that could. If you want a competitive game, and this game can be very competitive, that does not require. It's just a slower boil.
It can breathe.
Yeah.
The game breathes.
This is a really good one. I freaking love Ashes.
And it's a PvE game as well, and it's like some of the best PvE in all of tabletop somehow.
Honestly, if there was somewhere between Sorcery and Earthborn, like a Venn diagram, I feel like Ashes is living in that.
Yeah.
Because it's heads up, you have a singular character, but the art style and the vibe of the game feels more like Earthborn.
Yeah.
In a interesting kind of way. It's less like dark fantasy and more like there's more brightness to it.
Yeah. It's like a lot of our games that we support having kind of a...
But it has both the PvE and the heads up version, so like it's kind of nestled in between there. Anyways,
great time to catch up. Just get the whole collection. Again, it's really easy. Once you're caught up, it's like, you know, a few $30 every 4 months maybe. And then other things to note. What was I going to say about Ashes? It's important. We're streaming it on Monday.
Yeah,
next week, streaming Ashes on Monday. Blight of Neverset preview.
And Blight of Neverset we've already charged for in the subscription.
That's right.
But we will have it in stock.
And it'll be shipping that week, I believe.
That's right.
Because February 2nd is the official release date of that one. So I think that's everything for Ashes.
Okay.
Where else are we going?
Fab.
Fab news.
So Fab.
Every time I go to Twitter, on the Covenant Twitter, all I get is Fab content.
I've been saying this for a long time. The Fab community on Twitter is the best. That's also where it's happening.
A lot of people say it's not the best. A lot of people don't like
it.
Because it's always complaining about
have
something
you
like
tailored,
a big old chimera.
Have you tailored your feed and your algorithm to be what you want to see?
I just have to follow all the things that are relevant.
But what you engage with is what you're going to get. So if you look at your feed and it's a bunch of negative Fab takes, stop engaging with it.
No, but like that's what you engage with.
You got to stop.
Haven't you realized this is how the world works? I'm just saying,
if you don't want that in your feed,
it's like read the news.
Anyways,
don't cover the fire.
That is where like most of the community level conversation happens. There's like a Fab Discord and there's a bunch of different Discords, but like it's really happening there. Anyways, so their heavy hitters is coming soon. We've already charged for that. We have this promo here.
We're gonna be playing it on stream the Monday after release. So if release is on Friday, we'll be playing it on stream that Monday.
Yep, it's like February 5th or something.
I think I'll be okay because like I haven't played Fab in a little while, but with heavy hitters sealed, I think I'll know what to do.
Well, it's Warrior and Brute in the same set and Guardian, so we should be at home. Yeah. But we are charged for that. That'll be shipping like normal.
Oh, check out the promo.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You want me to do an overhead there?
Yeah, let's do it. This is a blue Rakarant alt art.
Do you want me to go? I'll try to get in
I think
there.
you're fine.
I'll get in there.
I think people can.
We just disagree. And then... Is it in focus?
Sure.
I can't. Yeah, it's in focus enough. Wild card. Foil. Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely stunning. They're also February's Road to National season. Over 400 Road to Nationals taking place in February. Heavy hitters coming out the 1st of February, so they're timing their seasons with this kind of a thing. March is the Pro Tour in LA, April is the Pro Quest season for the Amsterdam Pro Tour happening. That's what I was saying. Like
There's
they're
a
just
lot
like
to keep up with. Yeah.
and nationals is happening, I think, in June in Minneapolis in the U.S. and then all over the world for the other nationals. So they're doing their thing. Two other things happened. They had a celebrational event recently.
That seemed like it was a really cool event.
Invited notable community members and players and different people out. Seemed really cool. The event was ultimately won by my boy Brody Spurlock.
All right.
He's people like Brody and I learned, and I'll correct the world on this one. Michael, there's a Michael Hamilton, of course, who's also in this list. But Michael, it's Fong, not Fang.
Fung?
Michael Fong.
Fong.
Which he's so nice, he would never correct anybody. But as soon as I learned that, I felt horrible because I've been calling it Fang from. It goes with Wolfpack and stuff. But anyways,
disappointing.
When you see people like this, I watched a video recently that was the player. I think it was Scalabrini was the player, and it was 5 or 6 years after he retired, and he was never like a particularly notable player in the NBA.
NBA.
Yeah, follow.
Thank you. Yeah.
But it was basically the point of the video was, if you've ever thought you could have made it in the pros, we want to show you how wrong you are. So this guy, back in like his best year, was like the 387th best out of 400-ish players in the league. Third string, whatever. This is 5 years after he retires. He's definitely not as in shape as he was. And they bring in people to play against him that are like, you know, D1 basketball players or like street ballers and like just different levels. And he beats all these people like 11-0 one-on-one almost. Like, and then at the end, he went 3-on-1 against the group. And he still won like 11-2.
No.
Just to showcase like the skill gap. I say all that to say, a lot of the players I find myself playing against frequently, at some point you just sort of recognize like, I can do it once, you know? Like I got my top 4 in Baltimore last year, and it was like, all right. But man, the consistency and the frequency with which these guys are operating is humbling to see. So anyways, I say all that to say, Brody, congratulations on winning, because he's just
a monster, right?
So consistently.
It's like seeing the 8-year-old on the skateboard. I mean, it's just like, well, I have no chance.
Yeah. It's like,
You're already this good.
You're just built different.
No way. Renrock, love that. Y'all finally pushed me over the edge on Fab. I'm going to pre-release this weekend for my first Fab event. You may see a subscription from me soon. Love to hear it, Renrock. Hey, thanks.
I'm with a long cell, right?
That's good. Yeah, that's right. I'm with a long cell.
And then the other thing is they had an Armory XP change, and I'm not.
Oh, the world just shook when they did that. If you saw the Twitter feed, Zach, you wouldn't have believed.
Amazingly, I didn't. That might surprise you. I've been very busy lately, but do you know what happened?
Yeah.
Did they remove XP qualifications from like Nats or something? Or what?
I know that armories are no longer. No way. Are armories still giving you XP, but they're not qualifying you for events? I know that XP is no longer qualifying you for
there
anything.
Yeah,
notable.
so it used to be you could grind out events to get XP to qualify for majors. And I think they removed that.
Yeah.
And the thesis is local armories should not be for people grinding out points, which could create a certain kind of culture and environment that might not be conducive to a, interestingly, casual vibe at a local scene, even though, as we talked about earlier, their kind of whole position is not that.
Right.
Like they are the competitive game. So I get the challenge.
Well, so and here's the take. I saw one comment from a lovely player on.
Is this sarcasm?
Twitter? They may well be lovely.
Is my sarcasm meter going off?
I don't know if they were lovely. Not necessarily in this exchange that I was following, of course, with bated breath as I do on my social media feed. Just enraptured with the value that's being added to my life on a daily basis.
So good that you're driving down the road and you just have to be like...
Yeah, just... Exactly.
I look over sometimes and I see that and I'm just like... I actually,
what if there's information that's valuable?
What if I miss it at the exact moment it's happening? Yeah. But I look over and see that so often, it amazes me how many accidents aren't happening. Like actually, I'm surprised there's not like 10 times the number of car crashes and stuff going on. Anyways, go ahead.
That's why the cars are getting smarter, so we can get dumber.
Well, if the car was driving itself, then sure, be on your phone or whatever. Yeah. But like, hey, look. You're probably not driving for more than 20, 30 minutes. Your brain will be okay. You know what I mean? Just take a break. Take a break. For you. For the world. Go ahead.
So this comment basically said, well, I'll need other reasons to attend armories now. So they're going to have to add X, Y, and Z. And like the first part of that comment just kind of shook me, you know? It's like, so the only reason that, you know, the admission there is I'm only going to my local store to play Flesh and Blood because of the XP qualification, not because I want to, or because I enjoy it, or because I'm interested and it's a fun experience.
I did see someone posting kind of what you're saying here as a take.
Mm-hmm.
They were posting it a little aggressively.
Well, that probably wasn't me. I'm never aggressive.
No, it was not you. But and people were really refuting that. I don't know what they were refuting it with, but I know there was definitely a other side to this equation that they were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other piece of this is I saw a very lively exchange as well about what does casual fab even look like?
I don't know. I've never experienced it.
Because if you play
I have experienced it, actually.
A new player, you'll win 100% of the time.
I think casual fab to me is when a new set comes out and I host like a draft at my house.
So it's limited.
It doesn't have to be limited, but just the vibe in that room is like it's a game that is about inherently winning. We're all trying to win, but like there's a tone and a vibe, a culture in there where it's not super edgy. There's nothing on the line, literally. Mm-hmm. We're just playing the game and having a good time and trying to learn and like being interested in what's going on and stuff. And so like you do something and you didn't understand how it worked, we take it back, or you ask for a take back, it's fine. You like, but once it's like, I'm trying to get XP to qualify for nationals. Like, oh, you missed your tunic trigger.
Got it.
That's not casual.
I can see that. Okay.
There's a vibe to it.
The decks are the same. The people are the same. The only difference is
the culture is different.
There's this cultural difference.
And because the culture is different, sort of like with Sorcery, the culture is very different. So then you're willing to play to theme maybe more than you would. And some people still do, you know. For a while, you saw the lone Levia at a pro tour.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Ethan, you just love it. And I love it. And someday it worked out for you. So kudos to you. But like there is a vibe difference and what that vibe allows. Because even with Sorcery, I think you could be competitive and we could be very optimized and be doing our thing. But inherently, every room I've been in playing Sorcery has not been that vibe.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's hard to imagine. See, we talk about theme decks and this kind of thing, and that's a big part of what normally would be considered casual play, is like people who are building decks that work on a theme rather than the most powerful cards that I can run. But Fab really doesn't have that. You don't have a Goblin deck in Fab. You have a Bravo deck that is either running the correct cards or the worst cards. You're just making your deck worse. That's all you're doing. In Sorcery, like I can run a Frogs deck, and it may not be better than a Demon deck over here from Air, but sometimes that Frogs deck will get its little frog thing going on and it will win. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Just running the worst Bravo cards doesn't really give you a sense of like I'm doing something thematically cool. Yeah,
but there are maybe not a theme deck, but as an example, there was a time when I was running like an Earthborn Bounty, Crown of Dominion, Oldham deck.
Wow. All the friends.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was very high risk, high reward, but like that's kind of, it's like I have this Earthborn Bounty card I'm trying to use, or, I remember getting railed on stream early on when I was playing a Tunic with Viscerai, and people were like, what are you doing? It's got to be the Skeleton, etc. But anyways.
It is true. You can do different kind of offbeat builds that sometimes can work.
Yeah, it's like
it's just not evocative.
There was the Prism Iris deck, or the Dromai Iris deck. Iris instead of the typical Dromai thing. But yeah, it's not. I think the game inherently, because Warrior has to play Warrior cards, is thematic. But unlike Sorcery, it doesn't have a lot of the same space to be as thematic. It's not trying to.
It's not trying to be. Yeah, it's not hitting your imagination in some kind of way.
I do think if they successfully pulled off a PvE variant where it's more like an RPG and I'm playing a warrior and you're playing a bard and we're doing this thing. Now you can go that direction.
Yeah.
Because it's less about what's the most optimal warrior build and more like I'm building this character who has this problem. Like they have no good attacks. Like they're just weak.
Sure. Yeah.
Or the bard that's doing it, whatever it is. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. That's what's always so, like even Magic, which had I think more casual start, eventually had to have a whole new format developed to be truly casual.
Commander?
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't develop that. Players just
But it had to.
Yeah.
It had to come about.
One of every card and big
yeah.
decks, so they can't be optimized. And then they still optimize them. So
Yeah, of course.
You know,
human's gonna human, man.
Anyway,
It's,
so yeah,
it's this disease that we have.
the XP change is the right idea. It's the smart idea, right? Because you don't want your local weekly meetup to be a grind fest of discomfort.
Yeah, I get the part of the other side is, well, if those people stop coming, and you only had 12 people coming, like now you only have 8 people,
Right.
and it's like, well, 8 people, it only takes 2 or 3 people being gone that week for it to start not feeling like something worth going to. Is I think the concern.
Yeah.
I
know the timing of the announcement was criticized. I don't really know why, and I know that there's still a lot of questions about ELO and how it works now that it's the premier way to get in.
Yeah, well, they also are merging the ELOs. So previously they had Constructed and Limited, and technically Constructed had Classic, Constructed, and Blitz involved, and Limited had Sealed and Draft involved. But now there's just ELO. They haven't updated that. So I think part of it is people who were in the top 100 in XP auto qualifying for everything. Suddenly that's not an option.
Right.
We also don't know how the ELOs actually, because they're recalculating the entire ELO structure,
Interesting.
going back from the start and merging these things together.
Yeah, the things you got to do for these highly competitive games.
It's a lot.
Just I would look at it and I'm just like, wow. Well, any good comments over there? I don't have any on my phone. Han Solo?
Shoji had a cool comment, and I think this is just true of, and that's not the one I was talking about.
Han Solo had the best advice. There it goes.
Fly casual.
For onboarding new flyboard, keep your distance and don't look like you're trying to keep your distance. I don't know, fly casual.
Yeah, how do you fly
So
casual?
go easy.
But earlier he said, let me find it real quick. I really like this comment because I think this is just true of the internet. Where's that?
You're going all the way back. People complain when they first had XP qualifiers. Now people complain when they take them away.
So one of the downsides of the internet and everyone having access to post on to the world is that if you take 50,000 people and you do something, 5,000 of those people are going to hate it no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, someone's going to complain about it. And I think that's what this is, where it's like, it's really rare to do something that is relevant and have everybody involved be like,
right.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's the thing you should be doing, which makes it hard. Like if you're a publisher or you're a creator or you're a retail store, whoever you are, doing something, like we might do this stream and a bunch of people might love it. And some people
might post about it on Reddit.
Yeah. And they might say these guys are like really boring and need to like up their game because we're not doing shorts and that's okay. I kind of want us to be boring. Like, and if you don't want to just chill, then that's cool.
If you don't want to be bored, then find another
but if you need to like scroll through YouTube shorts while you're driving, our content is probably not it.
Although we're going to start posting YouTube shorts, so
I'm into it.
Us. Like, subscribe, ring the bell.
Smash that bell.
Smash that bell.
Anyways, point of it is, it's really easy to get in this cycle of just like, no matter what you do, someone's going to complain.
Yeah.
Which is why it's really important to not just follow the data as well. Because you might be measuring it that way and like totally go off course versus like, just do what you want to do and create what you want to create. And the people that find value in that will be attracted to it.
Yeah.
And move on. Anyways.
Love it.
All right. Sorcery. We talked a lot about Sorcery. We're going to Sorcery Con February 16th through 18th in Seattle. Anything else you want to say about that?
There's a couple other events going on. There's the Courtesan Cup going on.
In Baltimore, speaking of Baltimore,
Baltimore's
February 24th.
got a qualifier. West Virginia's got a qualifier. So check out, if you're in that area, all that Courtesan Cup stuff that's going on.
I'm sure Jesse's involved in this. Australia-New Zealand Championship in 2024, April 6th and 7th. Plenty of games in Melbourne.
Plenty of games in that Jesse's shop?
I just know winning agenda, man.
Yeah. Got to rename the channel.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jesse.
Kill it. We're going to SorceryCon. It is sold out.
Also, alert, none of those events we just mentioned were put on by anybody but community folks. I know the Courtesan Cup is a series of series of LGSs that have taken it upon themselves.
They're doing their thing. Yeah.
Great. Charge for the event, make some bucks. Although I think Louis doing it for free.
Toon Moot, are you going to be doing any heavy hitters limit on stream? That is the plan the Monday after release.
Yeah.
be doing some probably sealed, I assume.
That's right.
I don't know if we can handle another face-up draft.
No. We can't.
Moving along, we're almost to the end here. Marvel Champions announced Iceman.
Yeah, check it out. Hold on, I'll go find it.
I'm going to tell you, it's not about Iceman. There's an Age of Apocalypse scenario where they have these side missions going on. And Age of Apocalypse, I know the community is really excited about. Anything remotely touching X-Men. Oh, look. Steven's favorite element.
Iceman. It looks very Avatar-y, doesn't it?
It does.
See the preview of the new one?
That's
The
where I was going to
live
ask
action
you.
one?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it looked all right.
Are we optimistic? I'm optimistic.
Yeah, you don't need to touch it. It's perfect. So, like, no adaptation of it, it can be better.
But I know a lot of people that would not watch a cartoon that's like 20-something episodes in a season. I just know it.
Yeah.
Like, I know these people. It's like, that's a kid's show. We talk about Avatar, one of the greatest shows of all time. And it's just immediate resistance. It's so hard for them to do. So, I don't know. It's a great story with a great message. So, if it gets more people engaging with it.
All right. It's probably a more mature take.
And even just like in the storytelling culture of humanity.
Wow.
Like, stories being told over time. And even like at some point they'll read The Lord of the Rings. And it's like the early 2000 Lord of the Rings to me is like super special. But like
it could be better.
New stories for a new time with a different take. I think they're doing a TV show actually.
Do you think they'll ever redo Game of Thrones?
I want nothing. I wish they would just redo the last couple seasons.
I think they could take a shot at the whole thing.
Like, imagine if after like season 5 they were like, okay, and then 10 years happened. Now these actors are older, and our story continues. Right? Like, here's what's happening. So devastating. 2019 was a rough year for my fandom of everything.
Snow Clone. It's a good joke. There's Bobby Drake and Iceman. Look at that. When Iceman makes a basic attack or defense against an enemy, attach a set-aside copy of Frostbite to that enemy. Do we see Frostbite? -1 school and -1 attack.
School.
After attached enemy activates or leaves play, set it aside. Okay, so you tear it down. There's no way I can see this.
I've got a once a quarter group going for champions. We're 3/5 of the way through the first X-Men campaign.
It takes a while.
It does. I get involved in these 4-player groups. That's hard to schedule.
Do you guys dig it? I mean, how's the champions vibe these days?
4-player champions vibe when I actually was. I think I said this on stream. Maybe I don't know if you were around or it was Jonathan or what was going on.
It's often the case. Yeah, we're kind of one of the same.
But yeah, it could have fooled me. That being the only engagement I'm having with the game has made me actually like it more than I was liking it. Like, I really liked it at first. Then I think I got a little tired because we did the heroic thing for like too long.
Yeah. We crushed it.
Yeah, but that just being like, we're playing very thematic decks. We're all playing X-Men in the X-Men campaign. And it's very social. And we take like 3 or 4 hours to play one thing. Is exceptionally enjoyable.
Cool. Age of Apocalypse is the one coming up. And you can read all about this. Genetic experiments, infinite soldiers. Pretty good superhero stuff. Now, they're doing this strange mission thing.
Yeah, so you basically have this little... I had to read it twice to kind of get it.
Maybe 3 times.
It reminds me of the L5R OP program, which is...
We're still figuring that one out.
You like have this side mission, and you can play allies over there instead of where you normally would.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are unique ways to engage with it, and it involves like discarding cards that go on to the allies. And then if they have energy icons that match, they get to actually participate and then engage in this kind of like side quest thing. See, that's the cards going on under there with the icons and stuff.
There's the mission roll.
Which, honestly, with how much content they've made for that game, I wouldn't be surprised if...
You kind of make a new game.
They needed to add a layer to make it... and even just some other way to use allies that aren't just permanently on your board.
Mm-hmm.
Probably healthy for the game.
Do you think they thought it was going to go this long?
Thought or hoped or dreamed?
Do you think they thought it was going to go this long? Because there's a lot of superheroes.
Let's see, 2019. We're coming up in 5 years.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a 3 to 5 year plan.
We can ask Andrew. He's in the chat. He probably knows.
I don't think he can talk to those sort of things. You know, he gets every time these kind of things come up. You know, He's a little cagier. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe he can say. Who knows?
You can't say. Don't
Maybe
tell us.
someone
I
out
don't
there is
know why I
watching
want
from FFG
something.
right now that would be like, yeah, we had this in the plans from the beginning.
It's just like, yeah, they have to find such creative ways to make new cards matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. But they've done it somehow. Okay, we're out of here.
Nope. Bulk box.
Bulk box is great.
We got one of those around here.
Bulk box is great.
This is
Come
worth
on,
saying.
y'all.
We launched these in December, and then we kind of just went dark with our content. But these are bulk storage solutions. You should check them out. They're on the website. It's just a great thing. We have pallet
Hardy.
shelves over here for the first time, and they
feel
fit perfectly
good.
in there.
They're nice. I got a comment just came through the other day about how them not being rectangular, they don't like have that weird sag effect. When you're like, this
Yep.
is an example. Now these boxes work. I mean, the BCWs work just fine,
Yeah, the old workhorse, man.
but they feel, you're not required to show you. Now there's a little. I think one of them looks nicer at least.
Well, especially if this was getting used, it would turn less white. I've had a few boxes doing that.
Yeah.
Square. It's double walled. It's sturdier. It's the design itself is smoother. We have a whole video about it. Worth checking out. But huge fan of Ricky and Boltbox.
They're running right off the shelves. Y'all are buying them up.
Yep. Order today. They will ship in one business day. So if you order them right now, they should ship tomorrow. Ops will. That's why I say should. Ops will do it. Whether or not we had some ice at the beginning of this week, so we sent out some notices and stuff. But they routinely are dunking on all the shipments, get them out in one day.
Jesse's asking what would happen if I were to stand on my bulk box. We tested that.
You can do it right now.
I'm standing on it right now. The floor is just bulk boxes down here. You can't see it, but.
That's why it took so long to build this space. Is we had to build enough bulk boxes to fill the whole building.
Jesse, is that your event?
Dude, look at Jay Zilla. I bought 8 of these bulk boxes, and they're incredible. 3 fit perfectly in most cube storage shelving, like Calic shelves. Love to hear it. I bought some of these to test them out when they were available only from the UK, from Ricky himself, and immediately just was like, this is. I'd never expected to be so excited about a storage box.
Yeah.
Or there to be innovation in that category. But yeah, I love that product.
Jay Zilla would love to be able to buy more separators. When you buy more boxes, you get more separators. It's just an expensive set of separators.
Easy as that. I have some ideas floating around for that.
But we use the waste of the bulk box process to make the dividers. So you don't want to just make. I mean, unless you do. What would you pay for?
I think you could do. We were talking about doing stickers with game logos to put on them that kind of match the style with the black ink and stuff. I think you could also potentially do dividers for specific, like Earthborn, the course that came with dividers that fit in a normal situation, but that have the tab with the thing on it, and that way it's like you're not just buying extra dividers as much as you're buying like Earthborn dividers.
That's not a bad idea.
But put it on the idea list. We got so much going on. I just feel like I'm so behind. Honestly.
Is that a good feeling? Is that because we have a lot going on, or because we're not good at keeping up?
I was talking about giving things time and space to
give it time,
ruminate. I feel like that's what I said, kind of ending the pandemic phase and this build out phase and all the stuff that's been going on, and like it just created the need to take a second and refactor what's going on before really moving forward.
Yeah.
But it's the walls are starting to break down and like we're starting to move.
Does feel good. Mm-hmm. And this being back is a part of that. So thank y'all for being here. We appreciate you sticking around.
We're going to be back on Monday with Ashes.
On Monday
streaming
with Ashes.
Next week.
I think we're doing Earthborn next week as well, yeah. On Wednesday.
And the week after that is going to be Fab.
We're
on Monday.
Fab on Monday.
Then potentially Earthborn again on Wednesday.
Wednesday, Earthborn again.
Then what happens after that? The Lord only knows.
We'll find out. Thank you for being here. I don't know if this is going to turn off. I think Jonathan's still out there listening. I hope you are, Jonathan. Thank you for running the show. And we'll see you guys in really just a few days up next Monday. Catch us there for Ashes. Thank you.